But it is important that as many folks as possible go to Van Buren this morning and support a candidate, your candidate of choice, and make sure that the electorate knows that you are actively participating in the process of politics. These three bills that are currently out here today are all important, and I want to run over them one at a time. We're going to spend some time on them this morning, take your calls, and make sure that we're adequately covering this information. If you are not one of those pen and pad people, I strongly encourage you to make sure that you have a pen and pad today, because we're going to be giving out a lot of information that is really important for you to have so that you can actively participate in what is happening here. So the first bill is basically an unmanned aerial surveillance limitation bill, and this is an important one because it's called Preserving Freedom from Unwarranted Surveillance Act. Now, those of you who are aware of what's going on with the drone discussions in Congress and the abuse and use of drones within our domestic nation, we have a lot to fear. And so this is not tinfoil hat stuff, folks. This is real. And we have a bill currently in the House. It's Bill number 46, House Bill 46. Now, this is an act which would bar and limit the use of drones for surveillance. And it's extremely appropriate because, if you're not aware of it, there is there's a news article out the other day from the MissouriWatchdog.org. By the way, that's a great website for you to keep your eyes on. It's called MissouriWatchdog.org. Now, you can just go to watchdog.org and find the section that pertains to Missouri, of course. But there is an article out from February 6th that there is referencing this bill. And the reason for this bill is because basically what we've got is that last June, the EPA, the Federal Environmental Protection Agency, was dispatching drones from Kansas City to investigate and surveil farms to determine whether cow manure was fouling water supplies in Midwestern states, including the agriculture areas in northwest Missouri. And Representative Guernsey, who, boy, I tell you what, I'm really beginning to like this Guernsey. He is all over this stuff. He basically has submitted this act, and we're going to discuss in detail what it covers. So make sure that you stick with us this morning, because it's important that we make sure our voices are heard on House Bill number 46. It's got to pass. Another one is House Bill number 77. This one is the Right to Work legislation. And this is a cornerstone of the Restore Missouri project. Basically, what it does is it allows our state to operate without forced union membership. So it's essentially what's been passed in a host of other states, which allow the workers to choose whether or not they want to join a union. It's not a question of being forced into joining a union. We're basically looking at the ability to say, I choose to join a union if I feel that it will benefit me. So the Right to Work legislation is absolutely, definitively critical for the success of Missouri, one, as a firewall break or a fire break away from the federal government and abuse of the federal government, but more importantly, to enable our state to be an attractive suitor for corporations, companies, and industry that wants to leave those states, like the states on both coasts, that are abusive of them from either a taxation perspective or a regulatory perspective. Here's the way you got to look at this. Excuse me. I am so sorry. If a state, and we're going to use New York as an example, if the state of New York has imposed significant regulatory penalties on corporations to do business in that state, if that state is abusing those corporations by onerous taxation, if the state has, and in the case of New York, had a governor who has passed unconstitutional legislation limiting firearms ownership as an example, why can't we get a corporation like Kimber Or why can't we get a corporation like Henry Rifles? Now, Kimber is located in Yonkers, New York. Yonkers. And Henry is in Brooklyn, okay? And so what we want to do is invite those guys out here. Now, you may not necessarily like the accent, but they come with money, they come with jobs, they come with taxation, they come with industry, and they come with profitability for our state. And that's what we want. We want corporations to look at an industry, to look at Missouri and say, that's a state with a model that we want to follow. We don't necessarily want to feel like we're obligated to go to Texas. Now, I'm not finding fault with Texas. I think what Texas is doing is wonderful. In fact, I applaud the fact that they are running advertising in California, inviting corporations to vacate California at a fire alert rate and vacate California and move to Texas. In fact, if we can get right to work instituted here in the state of Missouri, I would like to see the state of Missouri begin to advertise in those regulatorily and taxation limited states, or challenged states, if you want to call them that. These are states where they are handicapped by regulation and taxation. And we should be advertising in those states, offering those industries to come here. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I know that there is a jobs council in Missouri and an industry council. And I happen to have spoken firsthand to one of the chairmen over there who told me that there were 13 companies that they had introduced to Missouri to try to come here and bring their industry here. And right off the bat, they filled out a questionnaire, these companies, and one of the first things that they asked was, do you have right to work? And as soon as we said no, 7 of them were eliminated off the list instantaneously, just based on right to work alone. Because corporations don't want to come here who are non-union and then be forced to go union in order to hire workers. No corporation wants that, and they shouldn't be forced to do that. So right to work is so critical to our state that if we don't pass right to work, we are doomed to forever fall underneath the ladder and land at the bottom of the ladder of 50 states in job creation and revenue generation. That's a fact, folks. Missouri is 50th in job creation, and that is a direct result of the policies of our current administration under Governor Nixon, and the fact that we don't have right to work, that we are a union-friendly state. And, you know, those folks who are up in Kansas City and St. Louis may sing the songs and praises of unions. But let me tell you something. In the rest of the state, it is eating us alive. Eating us alive. It is eating out our substance. It is destroying our opportunity to bring in industry. It is strangling our opportunity to make a living and to be a state who is successful for its citizenry. Right to work is so critical for us that we must pass it. It's not a question of should we, it's a question of how can't we. Right to work is the right of every American. You shouldn't be forced to join a union in order to work for a company, in order to have a job. And then allow that union to take your money in the form of dues and use it to elect candidates that you don't even agree with. I don't know how anyone can consider that to be a legal operation. That's like the protection rackets from the 60s when I was a kid growing up. How unconscionable. I don't want to pay into a fund where you're supporting candidates like Claire McCaskill. Why should I do that? Why would I do that? That is political and economic suicide. We have the right to change that. We have the means to change that, and we have the option to change that. And we're going to do that with House Bill 77, Right to Work. If they can get it through in Michigan, how come we can't get it through here in Missouri? Michigan, the heart of the labor dragon, the heart of the union dragon. We can pass this, people. but we've got to be active. We've got to be grassroots. We've got to be spreading the word, screaming this from the rooftops and from the peak of every house and building in our state. It is imperative that each and every one of us go out there and fight the good fight to make sure we have right to work in Missouri. The last bill, and this one is even more important, but for a different reason. This is the Second Amendment Preservation Act, House Bill number 436. I want you to write that down. House Bill 436, Second Amendment Preservation Act. Now let me tell you why this is important. First of all, it outlines a couple of key components of Restore Missouri. One, it very clearly delineates that our Constitution and our agreement to be a member of the United States of America as a multi-state compact is not a suicide compact, first and foremost. And it does so with language which you'll find striking. The second aspect of this is that it very clearly delineates out that the Second Amendment is the supreme law of the land, and that no Congress or any legislative body may strip you, Missouri citizens, of that right. And furthermore, that any acts that have been passed in the past, including the Federal Gun Control Act of 1934 and the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968, which, by the way, was modeled after Nazi Germany's Gun Control Act, word for word, that they are void and null and of no effect. Ladies and gentlemen, this is exactly what Restore Missouri is about. Why? Because even with right to work, if the federal government has the right to strip you of your ability to defend yourself in your home and your place of business, you have nothing. Remember, the Second Amendment is a doomsday button. That's all it's for, people. It's a doomsday button. It's not to be used unless it is absolutely warranted and all hope is lost. But a doomsday button it is. It's extraordinarily valuable because it's a principle that governments understand. Mutually assured destruction. When we come back, we'll talk further about that. You're listening to America's Voice. Join me in one moment.
I'm Pat O'Neill. More than 2 feet of snow in some areas, more than 600,000 homes and businesses without power. The result of a huge winter storm smacking the Northeast. New England hit the hardest.
If you can stay home, it's the best choice. It's probably all the cars are not going to be able to get through it all. That's why all these governors have said stay off the roads. In Massachusetts, the entire state saying stay off of the roads.
That's Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. Power companies from as far away as the Midwest are sending their contractors to help those in the Northeast.
In some sense, it's actually an investment in the future, because there will come a time when we here in the Midwest, in Missouri or Illinois, when we're impacted by a storm and we're going to need the resources back.
That's Ameren, Illinois Storm Recovery Manager Mike Marks in St. Louis. Airlines have canceled more than 5,300 flights in the Northeast. This is a Fox News Alert.
The further we reach out, the closer we all become. Hey, it's Nate Cooper here with the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. I invite you to join us Sunday mornings. The program is a combination of local and national known speakers. So I encourage you to do two things. Listen in on Sunday mornings from 8 until noon and find out how you can become a sponsor of one of the programs. Just call our offices at 255-0427. Beyond the Point, Sundays on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
The Donut Palace in West Plains, where the customer is still king. If you're a school group, church group, sports team, or any group function, book it with the Donut Palace. Order 24 hours in advance and at least 3 dozen to receive 10% off your bill, and you won't have the burden of paying tax either. Open 7 days a week from 5 a.m. to 6 p.m. except Sundays when they close at 1. Call today at 417-256-0606 to have delicious hot and fresh donuts at your next meeting. Located at 914 Broadway in West Plains, the Donut Palace.
There's one man on this earth who really, truly gets it.
Barack Obama is destroying the economy. He's destroying our school system by nationalizing the student loan program. He's destroying the industrial heartland of this nation by doing exactly what he said he would do. Driving up the cost of electricity, driving up the cost of doing business, putting hard-working men and women out of jobs.
Mark Levin.
Weeknights from 5 till 8. Mark Levin on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information. Email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have increasing clouds, high near 52 degrees. Tonight, we have a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low around 40 on Sunday. Showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high near 60. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
And I just love that sound. Hoo-ah. All right. You're listening to America's Voice Now. My name is Michael. I'm your host for this show, for every America's Voice Now show. This is my little Paul Revere moment. I get to shout from the rooftops, from tower tops, and I get to alert America to the coming onslaught. Folks, it's imperative we are awakened and active. And there's a great opportunity in these 3 bills we're talking about this morning to do just that. These are the base foundational products of Restore Missouri. This is exactly what Restore Missouri is built and designed to accomplish. Legislative change to build a firewall around our state, to prohibit federal overreach, and to lock down and put limits on state government as well. Remember, constitutions were written as negative documents. They are written and designed to be chains to bind men down with chains of law that they may not abuse us. That's the premise, people. But we have to be ever vigilant. We must exercise our right to speak. We must have legislators in place, like these men and women who are signing these bills. It is imperative upon us that we take action today. It's not optional. It's not a question of should we. It's a question of why aren't we? These bills are so critical at this juncture in time for us to assert our rights as an independent and sovereign state. We are one of 50. This is not some communal organization that we're obligated to all jump off the cliff like lemming together. We have the right as an independent and sovereign state, and we have the right as citizens to demand that our state protect us, guide us, and give us the ability to stand independently and alone, to defend ourselves, defend our homes, build our lives, build industry in our communities, and save our nation. Even if it's only the nation of Missouri. People, our government is out of control. 80% of Americans believe that our government is out of control. That's a poll, people. That's not me talking. I'm not pulling these statistics out of the air. 80% of Americans believe the federal government has gone too far. And we've known it for decades. This isn't news. This isn't something we haven't thought about or heard about before. This isn't something that cropped up and snuck around the corner on us. This has been going on for decades. And it's time that we got a hold of this horse. We grab the reins, pull this pony back down on all fours, and say, you will do as we demand. A wild stallion run amok is a danger. I'm telling you that we have the opportunity to take our nation back, even if it's one step at a time. Will it be fast enough? Will it be soon enough? Will we do it in time? I don't know. But I do know this. We should all be ready, willing, and able to die trying. We owe ourselves and our children nothing less. Where do you stand? I want to know. Where do you stand? Three bills. Three. And they're not the only three, but these are three that are absolutely hinge pins to our success. Unmanned aerial surveillance. It's everywhere. The state and federal government are utilizing this to surveil us in ways that they have absolutely no right to do. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Now, there's only one way to accomplish that, and that is to pass a law that says you can't do it. You cannot do it. And here, this act accomplishes that. Here's what it says, and I'm going to maybe truncate a little bit of it. It's not that long, but it's worth hearing. First, it defines a drone. And it means a drone is any powered aerial vehicle that A, does not carry a human operator, B, uses aerodynamic forces to provide vehicle lift, C, can fly autonomously or be piloted remotely, D, can be expendable or recoverable, E, can carry a lethal or non-lethal payload. 2, an unmanned aircraft is an aircraft that's operated without the possibility of direct human intervention from within or on the aircraft. Here's what it says. No person, entity, or state agency. No person, entity, or state agency shall use, not may, shall use a drone or other unmanned aircraft to gather evidence or other information pertaining to criminal conduct or conduct in violation of a statute or regulation, except to the extent authorized in a warrant. That phrase, by the way, is direct out of our Constitution. 2, no person, entity, or state agency shall use a drone or other unmanned aircraft to conduct surveillance of any individual, property owned by an individual, farm, or agricultural industry without the consent of that individual, property owner, farm, or agricultural industry. This act does not prohibit the use of drones by a law enforcement agency when exigent circumstances exist. For the purposes of this section, an exigent circumstance exists if a law enforcement agency possesses reasonable suspicion that, under particular circumstances, swift action to prevent imminent danger to life is necessary. I'm okay with that. Any aggrieved party may, in a civil action, obtain all appropriate relief to prevent or remedy a violation of this act, and this is key. No information obtained or collected in violation of this act may be admissible as evidence in a criminal proceeding in any court of law in the state or in any administrative hearing. Wham! These guys got it right. Guernsey, again. I love this guy, Guernsey. I got to get him on this show. Why is this so crucial? Well, because if we don't get these drones reined in, first, we've already got a president who is pathologically aroused by these drones. Something's wrong with this man. You know, reports are coming out of the White House that he has these drone videos sent up to the second floor and he watches them over and over and over. There is something wrong with that, people. Here is a man who is the most powerful man on the planet. Arguably. The most powerful man on the planet. And he is literally sitting in the second floor repeatedly watching drone strikes on human beings. There's something wrong with that. And I'm not the only one who's talking about this. Now, the White House and Valerie Jarrett and her ilk are doing their damnedest to stop the word getting out to Americans about it. Because everybody who would see that or hear about it or understands the implications of it is deeply concerned. Deeply concerned. It shows a failing in this man. It shows a serious problem with his psychological makeup. And if he's willing to kill Americans and human beings, but Americans in particular, overseas, with a wave of Eric Holder the Trader's magic wand, what's to stop him from doing that domestically right here in our nation? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know, a newscaster the other day, or not a newscaster, but a pundit on one of the news programs, brought out a very good point the other day. He said, you know, if this is the case, and this president has the authority to eliminate Americans based on what he terms to be a threat to the nation, would Nixon have had the right, under this law, to kill Bill Ayers and the Weather Underground in Chicago back in the 70s? Would he have the right to do that? And the answer is, yeah. If this was legitimate, if this was constitutional, Nixon would have had the right to use drones and drone strikes against Bill Ayers and the Weather Underground, because they were an exigent threat. They were bombing buildings. They were threatening to bomb the Pentagon. Remember? Or have you forgotten? We're going to take a break. When we come back, I'd love to hear from you guys. By all means, pick up your telephone and call the Wits End Classic Barbershop Hotline. You can do that by dialing 257-1111. That's 257-1111. Or, if you're out in the hinterlands, you can dial us toll-free at 866-554-6636. That's 866-554-6636. We're going to run over a few different things this morning, and we have got a lot of ground to cover. So please make sure that you get yourself a cup of coffee, put on your favorite slippers, grab a seat, and enjoy the rest of the morning with us. We are going to cover a ton of information this morning about these bills, other news articles and items happening, and especially in reference to the vote that's going off today over in Van Buren to replace Joanne the Trader Emerson. We'll be right back.
Come join us for the grand opening of CrossFit Somo's new facility, 220 North Kentucky Avenue, March 1st and 2nd. They offer classes 7 days a week with over 5,000 square feet of floor space. CrossFit Somo's staff of 7 Level 1 certified...
America's Voice Now, delivering truth over mainstream propaganda every single day. Hi, my name is Michael Evans, and I'm your host, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and Saturday morning from 6 to 9 a.m. Join me daily for important guests and my unique slant on hot topics in the news. Visit americasvoicenow.org for even more news, articles, and commentary, and watch our show streaming live to your PC. Share your morning with me. Get educated, informed, motivated, and activated. America's Voice Now, right here on 107.1.
Saturday morning, 6 to 9. Hey, that's right now. Hey, thanks for joining us and spending your Saturday morning with us. You're listening to America's Voice. My name is Michael Evans. I am your host this morning. I would greatly encourage you to visit us on the web and find our links on Facebook and YouTube, where we post up all kinds of information that is absolutely important and vital for you to hear and read and learn about. You know, our goal here is to educate, to inform, to motivate, and to activate our citizenry, our listeners, our representatives into action, right? We got to goad them into action and make sure that we're getting things accomplished to protect ourselves and restore our nation. And we start right here at home, right? How many times have we heard the old adage that charity starts at home? Well, it's not just charity, people. There's a lot more than just charity that starts at home. There's also the principle and the concept that restoration of the home starts at home. Welcome to the show, caller.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, thank you.
On the drones?
Yes, sir.
I'm a resident of Missouri, and I'm not a criminal. And I had a drone over my house just about a year ago. It was stationary. At first, I thought my exhaust fan was on.
Yeah.
And I leave the house early in the morning before daylight. I'm standing there looking, and it just moves off.
Really?
I turn around, and here goes the deputy sheriff's car. Then another one goes by. So that evening, I go to the sheriff's office. I introduce myself to the sheriff, tell him where I live.
Yeah.
I told him I didn't appreciate a drone over my house.
What'd they say?
He said he wasn't aware of an investigation on my road.
Well, I would have said, okay, but I'm asking you now directly, one-on-one, man-to-man. Did you have a drone over my home?
I should have, but both with two deputies out there, he should have known.
Well, I mean, then it's up to him to institute an investigation.
Yeah.
I would have insisted on that, and I want an answer in 24 hours, Mr. Sheriff.
Well,
and by the way, let me just interrupt you for 1 second, caller. Listeners, if you have a drone over your home, then you are entitled to do two things. One, you may contact your local sheriff if that's where especially in this case where you saw a sheriff's car, right?
Yeah, two of them.
Then the first thing I would do is I would go to my sheriff and I would demand an investigation. And I would say, if you cannot give me an adequate answer within 24 hours, I'll be going to the state police, I'll be going to the state assembly, and I'll be going to the federal government and the FBI to institute an investigation into you and your department to find out why you have a drone over my home.
Yeah. I just didn't know the course of action to take.
Well, that is the course of action. It's called holding people's feet to the fire to make them accountable for their actions.
The thing of it is, I'm not a farmer. There's no reason. I told him, I said, if you think I've got something in my house shouldn't be there, I said, you come up, I'll get you a cup of coffee, and me and you'll find it.
So do you live out rurally, or are you...
Yeah, I live out in the country.
Do you have a large piece of property or something?
80 acres, but there's nothing on it.
Yeah, very strange. I mean, and it could be just something that they were out there practicing. But then again, you know what? Hey, you know what? I want to see drones ceased. I want to see their use ceased. And I'll tell you why. And this bill will do it. I'll tell you why. Because they're using this to add to the databases of information that they're building on Americans. Did you hear that thing about Maxine Waters the other day where she admitted that the president has a database on Americans that will just scare the poop out of everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. They're building databases on Americans. And it's time that we had an opportunity to, one, end that process. We need to take our privacy back from our government. And number one. And number two, they're using these drones to build and add information to those databases. And all of this stuff gets funneled whether it's local, county, state, or federal, into a central master database. And I'm telling you, people, it is every violation of your Fourth Amendment. It is everything that our Fourth Amendment stands against.
This, if I hadn't have walked outside, I would have not have known that this was over my house.
Right.
It wasn't much louder than a window fan.
How big was it?
I couldn't see it. It was in the dark, but it was about 20 feet above my house.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm standing there looking in the dark, and, I don't know, maybe a minute goes by, and then it just moves off. So it had to be a helicopter.
Right. And it didn't have any kind of, there was no lighting on it or anything?
No. You couldn't see a thing. You could just hear the noise.
See, that's even scarier, is because here we've got, for all intents and purposes, we've got these drones out there, and there's no lighting system to verify it. I'll tell you what, I'm not sure of the legality of this, but I think we probably ought to find out. If anybody out there is an attorney, find out. Do we have the right to shoot one down, to pull out the old shotgun and go skeet shooting or drone shooting? I mean,
yeah.
Technically, if you don't know who's surveilling your home, that's a violation of your privacy.
I felt like I had a peeping Tom looking through my window.
Well, I have to tell you, I've had people tell me, and I can't verify this. It's anecdotal, right? And I'm only just going to repeat what someone had indicated to me. But I had a woman tell me at one point in time that there was a drone outside of her window, and she physically saw it hovering outside of a window on a second story. So, she's a listener, and I can't verify it or deny it, and I have no idea what, whether there was, she imagined it or otherwise. But, you got to assume that at this point in time, we have no idea how many of them are out there.
Yeah.
We don't know who's running them. We don't know whether it's the news media or whether it's the law enforcement agencies. And if it is a law enforcement agency, is it your local police department, your sheriff's department, your county police, the FDA, the EPA, the DNR? Who the hell knows?
Yeah.
And nobody wants to give us answers. I mean, the idea of the Freedom of Information Act is basically destroyed. There isn't any Freedom of Information Act anymore because all they do is come back and tell you, they give us propaganda left and right.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call, and that's exactly the kind of thing that we need. You should be writing a letter to the representatives who were sponsoring this bill and co-sponsoring it.
Okay.
Why don't you do that? What county are you in?
Howell County.
Okay, so your representative is Sean Rhodes, and here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you – do you have a pen and paper?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give you Sean Rhodes' phone number.
Okay.
It's 573.
Okay.
751.
751.
1455.
1455?
Yes. Now, he's already co-sponsored this bill.
Okay.
And so I believe he has. Let me just I'm not sure he's co-sponsored this one for the I'm not sure if he's co-sponsored the Drone Act. But here's what I would suggest. First of all, that's his office in Jefferson City. I would call him, and I would have a clear and frank discussion with him and explain to him that you are expecting him to co-sign this bill as a direct result of this issue.
Okay.
You follow my point?
Yeah.
And I would write him a letter, and then I would CC that letter to the local newspapers in this area. Send it to the Summersville paper, the Quill in West Plains, send it to the paper in Willow Springs, send it to the Howell County News, and CC everybody, including the sheriff's department of your county, wherever you live. And make sure that you make it very clear that this kind of treatment is an abuse of the authority that we have vested in any government agency. And that doesn't matter whether it's a city police department or a sheriff's department or a Department of Natural Resources or the EPA or the FAA or the FBI or any other three-letter agency.
Well, Mike Shannon will remember me because I was kind of unhappy when I went in there.
Well, I would make sure that you go in there and hand him the letter personally. This is the kind of thing, folks, that we have to do in order to protect ourselves and make it clear that under no circumstances are we to be subjected to abuse by government agencies. And it doesn't matter whether it's a local law enforcement agency or some other, administrative agency, maybe a milk board. Right?
I had a friend about 3 years ago tell me that they was using an airplane drone, flying it at night. But I didn't really, one of those things you hear and just kind of put on the back burner.
Yeah.
But when I come out of my own home and heard one over my house, it really got my attention.
Listen, I don't blame you. And I have to tell you, that kind of thing is completely unacceptable. I'd be furious if I caught a drone flying around over my home.
Well, I've got to come to town today. I may swing by there and see if I can catch you. It would be different if I had any criminal background. I could say, all right, they're just checking on me.
Well, they don't even have a right to do that. I mean, if you have, listen, let's get something straight, America. Just because you've made some mistake in your life, if you've paid your penalty to society, you're finished. That's it. And it's not to be a millstone hung around your neck indefinitely forever.
Yeah.
I'm against that kind of crap, and because I'm a victim of it, number one. And number two, because I see it destroy many, many people's lives. I'm going to give you a perfect example, sir. You don't sound like you're a kid.
No, I'm 65.
Okay, so let's take this scenario back and say that when you were, maybe when you were 20, 25 years old, you were out driving around with some friends, and one of you guys had a bag of weed, and you got pulled over by the cops, and you got charged, and you got hit with a felony for possession of drugs. You're 25 years old. Here you are 40 years later, and you are still, for all intents and purposes, barred from being a participating member of society for a mistake you made when you were in your 20s.
Yeah.
Is that acceptable to you?
No.
I don't think so. And I, for one, am tired of it. I mean, look, I get it. If you went out and you robbed a bank at gunpoint, you abused someone or injured someone or committed a violent crime with a firearm, I'm okay with it. But if you're going to sit here and tell me that a guy who's got a drug penalty from 20, 25 years ago should forever be barred from being a participating member of society, I say that's bunk.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. They have all of these grants that they give to the law enforcement agencies.
Yes, they do.
Isn't that a way they get in their pockets so they can have...
Yeah, because every one of those grants comes with strings.
That's what I thought.
You got it. Hey, listen, we're going to take a break. Thank you so much for the call. I appreciate that.
All right.
You have a great day. Folks, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, this is the top of the hour, so you're going to have news and weather. We'll find out what that storm is doing over in the eastern seaboard. When we come back, we'll talk more about this and take your calls.
Let's get to the point.
Well, let me get to the point.
FM News Talk for the Ozarks is FM 107.1 The Point. KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains.
I'm Chris Foster. 2 feet high and rising, the snow in southern New England from the blizzard slamming the Northeast. More than 650,000 homes and businesses without power, and Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth says it's not just the snow.
We had a wind gust in Boston at Logan Airport yesterday of 77 miles an hour. Bedford, Mass, 75. That is above hurricane force wind, so incredible wind along with this, and we're still dealing with it.
Hundreds of cars sitting stuck on New York's Long Island Expressway. Thousands of flights canceled with New York City and Boston's airports closed. About an hour and a half away from Sunrise in Big Bear Lake, California, where an ex-cop accused of killing 3 people may be hiding out. Christopher Dorner's burned-out truck was found there Thursday.
The SWAT teams will return to the mountain today, dressed in camo, as they methodically go from house to house, the 200 or so cabins in the 8-square-mile area that they've been focusing on. Of course, they're very concerned that Christopher Dorner could be lying in ambush for these guys. Remember, he's a highly trained former Navy reservist, and they know the same tactics that they're going to use in hunting him down, and so he continues to elude them.
Fox's Dominic DiNatale. In Northern California, a federal sting snags a terror suspect.
The FBI says a San Jose man thought he was about to set off a car bomb in front of a bank in Oakland. Instead, 28-year-old Matthew Laneza was armed with harmless material provided by the feds, the result of a sting that began in late November when an undercover agent portrayed himself as being a connection to the Taliban in Afghanistan. Investigators say Laneza wanted to start a new civil war in America. With a record of weapons convictions, Laneza did not enter a plea when he appeared in federal court in San Francisco.
Fox News Radio's Ron Flatter. 5 people are killed in a head-on collision in southwest Georgia. 2 others hurt. Police still trying to figure out what happened there. You're listening to Fox News Radio. Fair and balanced.
There's more to Fox News Radio than meets the ear. Go behind the headlines and join the conversation on the hottest stories of the day on the Fox News Radio Facebook page. Be a part of the Fox News Radio Facebook fan community. Post comments and tell us your opinions. See behind-the-scenes photos and videos and post your reactions to the stories that matter to you. Click the like button on Facebook and connect with breaking news and features like Fox in the Fast Lane, House Call for Help, and more. Go to Facebook.com/Fox News Radio.
Weeknights, we're busting out a brand new lineup. First, market fraud, government abuse, corruption. At 5, nothing's off limits on money with Melissa Francis. Then, from bloated bank fees to consumer scams. At 6, Jerry's exposing the issues impacting your wallet. Plus, get smart market insight and trusted analysis you won't find anywhere else. At 7, Lou Dobbs is all business. And the first and last name in business, Cavuto, shedding light on the biggest stories making headlines at 8. Only on the Fox Business Network, giving you the power to prosper.
As congressional approval ratings plummet, Republicans and Democrats are striving for broader appeal.
House Republican leader Eric Cantor striking a softer tone to a conservative think tank, saying the GOP must focus on kitchen table issues.
Creating the conditions of health, happiness, and prosperity.
Cantor's speech free of social concerns while supporting a pathway to citizenship for some illegal immigrants. Democrats also trying to build a bigger tent.
It's important to not to give up on anybody, to talk to them.
Former President Bill Clinton telling House Democrats to see divisive issues like gun control and immigration as opportunities and not toxic landmines. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News Radio.
A 24-year-old man in northern England is arrested over a Facebook thread against students in Warren County, Tennessee, that kept kids home from school. Reese Elliott from South Shields, England, is facing criminal charges. Police have not said why he may have done it. There's a lot of snow on the ground in the Northeast, and you want to be careful clearing it out.
Clearing out after the latest snowstorm can take a toll on the body, especially your heart. Doctors at the Cleveland Clinic say some should never even pick up a shovel, like those with coronary artery disease or high cholesterol. The combination of cold temperatures that tighten arteries and strenuous activity can be the perfect storm for a heart attack. Feeling any pressure in your chest while shoveling is a red flag to stop. House Call for Health, I'm Colleen Capon, Fox News Radio.
A Detroit woman comes home to find 3 men living there and some of her stuff missing. RJ lives in the neighborhood, says it's her own fault for going away.
If you're a homeowner, renting a property or whatever, you don't leave your home abandoned for 3-4 months. This is Detroit, Michigan. This is the hungry capital of the world, and we will come in there and squat in your house if you're not home.
2 of those men are under arrest. The woman told police they live next door. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
The further we reach out, the closer we all become. Hey, it's Nate Cooper here with the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. I invite you to join us Sunday mornings. The program is a combination of local and national known speakers. So I encourage you to do 2 things. Listen in on Sunday mornings from 8 until noon and find out how you can become a sponsor of one of the programs. Just call our offices at 255-0427. Beyond the Point, Sundays on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
News Talk 107.1 The Point weather sponsorships are available for your business marketing plans. Contact Cody or Josh at 255-2548 for more information.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have increasing clouds, high near 52 degrees. Tonight, we have a chance of showers and thunderstorm with a low around 40 on Sunday. Showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high near 60. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Hey, I'm going to tell you guys about something that just blew my mind. We were just talking about drones, right? And I stepped out for a second into the square, and I saw a bird. This is just kind of mind-blowing to me, so you'll have to just bear with me for a minute. I saw a bird, and I couldn't tell if it was an owl or a hawk, but it was truly a bird, not a drone. And it literally flew down one of the side streets that enters onto the square and flew 3/4 of the way around the square, just following the road, and then flew down one of the alleys. How cool was that, huh? Couldn't tell if it was an owl or a hawk, but it was a big one. And it was not a drone. Its wings were flapping. Hey, listen, I'm going to go one step further on this drone legislation, and I'm going to contact Rep. Guernsey and ask him to add this in as an amendment to this. I want to register any drone that's used and owned and possessed in the state of Missouri. Let's take this and fight back on their level. You want to register firearms? I want to register drones. I want to register every drone and have a public database that's visually available to anyone that in the state of Missouri that has to be put up on a public database on the internet, available on the internet, where all drones, any drone, I don't care whether it's owned by a law enforcement agency, an administrative agency, whether it's owned by the state or the government or the federal government, or whether it is owned by a news organization or any other private entity. I want every drone registered, and they must keep a log of how and where and under what circumstances that drone is used. And that information has to be publicly available. Now, I get the fact that we're going to have to make an exception for law enforcement where they can't make that information necessarily publicly available if they're using it in an exigent circumstance, or at least until after the exigent circumstance is over. But I want to know where every drone is, and I want to know what its use is. Every single one. I want a public database that registers all drones in a state database that is visually available on the web to anyone who wants to log on. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is accountability. And that's what we're going to get. I'm going to contact Rep. Guernsey and ask for this amendment to be added into this existing bill. House Bill number 46. And you need to be contacting every representative in our listening area and making sure that you're telling your representative that they should be co-sponsoring this bill. Not just signing on, co-sponsoring it. And that we need an amendment to register any and all drones that are in use within the state of Missouri. You want a drone? Good. Register it with the state, license it, and then put that information in a public database, and then log every hour that it is used. I want to know where every drone is at every given moment or second that it's in the air. I want to know how many times it's used. I want to know who it's used upon. I want to know where that videotape is so that it can be captured and researched later for criminal penalization if it's misused. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, makes sense. You want to own a drone? That's great. Register it with the state. Put it into a public information database. Log every hour of flight, just like you would have to do if you were a pilot in an FAA airplane. And make sure that they are required to keep all videotape captured and all video or images that are taken from it kept in a database that's publicly available for a period of time. Let's say 2 years or 3 years or 5 years or 10 years. And that if you are violating this act, that information and that video can be used criminally against you to prove the victim or the victim's right has been violated. Because if you look at the end of this thing, the last tail end of this says, no information obtained or collected in violation of this act may be admissible as evidence in a criminal proceeding or in any administrative hearing. And it also says any aggrieved party may in a civil action obtain all appropriate relief to prevent or remedy a violation of this act. Well, guess what? If you don't have a registration database and you don't force them to maintain and store forever the data that they capture while they're using a drone, you have no way to prove what they've done. And so what I suggest is that they keep a flight plan publicly logged. And any videotape that's shot, any photographs that are taken, any surveillance that is accomplished by that, whether it's for a news organization or whether it's for a law enforcement agency or whether it's for an administrative agency, that information be kept on file indefinitely. And if someone feels that they have been aggrieved or someone feels that they have had this used against them in a manner inconsistent with the law or a violation of their Fourth Amendment right to privacy, that aggrieved party can utilize that information in a civil action to obtain all appropriate relief to prevent or remedy a violation of the act. There you go. Why is that important? Well, because if companies, corporations, agencies, and individuals and law enforcement agencies know that someone is watching them, they will be careful to use them within the scope of the law, not exterior or extracurricular to the law. Right? We have so much extra constitutional activity going on in our nation, both state and federal constitutions, that we must do something to begin to take this process back from them. So let's put some teeth into this bill. Mr. Guernsey, I'm going to call on you, and I'm going to ask you to place into here an amendment that says that all drones must be registered with the state database. All video has to be kept and retained for a period of time as proof that if someone has been injured by this, by their use, that they can use that in a civil action. I think that's an acceptable idea. You want to register my guns, I want to register the government. I want to register a private corporation that's going to misuse the information. Are you going to use it for marketing? I don't care what you're going to use it for. If you're going to use it, if you're going to go out there and take video and because you want to put an article or print a news article or a news story and you're going to use that footage, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to sue you. You want to see how people start becoming accountable with drones? Put penalties to it. Put jail time and teeth to it. Then people, and only then, will people begin to do what is right. There has to be a penalty. If all it is a slap on the wrist, they'll violate it all day long. And if there's no accountability, i.e. no registration, who knows who owns all these drones? I mean, people, they're talking about building them the size of these toy helicopters you bought for your kid a year ago with a camera on them. How do you know who's got drones? We don't. So I say, if you're going to own a drone, you must, by law, register that drone. You must build a flight plan, and you must log. You've got to log a flight plan. And that information has to be retained in a database forever. Furthermore, you've got to also retain images, and we'll have to come up with the language for this, pictures, video, etc., retained indefinitely. Okay? I think that is a common sense solution to a problem before it becomes a problem. Isn't that what this is about? Why don't we take action now before we've got a problem? If you'd like to comment on this discussion on drones and my idea of registering the drones with a state database and logging flight plans and keeping evidence forever, then by all means, I'd love to hear from you. You can call us on the Wits End Classic Barbershop hotline. That telephone number for use is 417-257-1111 and 866-554-6636. I want to thank some sponsors, and so you'll just have to bear with me for a moment here. But we've got the folks over at West Plains Pawn and Gun. By the way, there's a gun show here in West Plains in the Civic Center today and tomorrow. And so I strongly encourage you, if you are not going to Van Buren to support Parker today, and if you are supporting Parker today, then go to the gun show tomorrow. If you are unable to attend the Parker event today for whatever reason, then make sure that you make it your business to get over to that gun show today and show your support for your Second Amendment rights. Just by virtue of the fact that you go, even if you don't buy anything, just by virtue of the fact that you've shown up, that helps to establish the fact that we are in support of our Second Amendment rights. So, if you can get to the Civic Center in West Plains today, there's a gun show today and tomorrow. And I strongly encourage you to participate in that. West Plains Pawn and Gun, a brand new sponsor with us. They can be found on the web at West Plains Pawn. And the owner of that place, Kenny, is going to be joining us next week. I think it's on Thursday. And he'll be live on the air with us, and we'll have a discussion with him about what his program entails. Kenny is a great guy. He's a great patriotic American. He's got an outstanding facility down there. There are some 400 plus firearms that they have in stock at all times. And they are a master dealer for great things like Kimber and Beretta, Browning, and a host of other brand names. They have firearms they have rifles, they've got shotguns, they have home defense weapons, they've got pistols for concealed carry, home defense, and any other kind of use that you want to apply to it. Hunting and so forth. They have accessories, holsters, ammunition, all kinds of gear that you need, optics and scopes, and they are recently just become a Class 3 SOT dealer, so if you want to obtain a suppressor or a fully automatic weapon, they're about the only place locally that you can have a registered NFA firearm delivered to their location, fill out a Form 4, and take it home and have yourself a suppressor. We'll talk further about that as we get into the hour here, but we're going to take a break. When we come back, I want to talk further about these issues. Make sure that you get down to see West Plains Gun and Pawn on 160 just past Walmart.
Miller Accounting is preparing tax returns and offering refund transfers for their clients. Their goal? Prepare your tax return timely, accurately, and confidentially in a stress-free environment. Get your refund by direct deposit, check, or debit card. Call 417-934-6132. Mention this station's call letters and receive $10 off. Caution, this offer will self-destruct April 15th. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and the Donut Palace is open at 5 a.m. every day.
The best donuts made fresh daily like Long John's, Eclairs, Bear Claws, and old-fashioned donuts. Try a hot and fresh bacon, egg, and cheese croissant or a kolache sandwich for breakfast and pair it up with some Starbucks coffee.
Start your morning right with the Donut Palace. And for the busy people, the drive-thru can get you your order even quicker. Located at 914 Broadway in West Plains, the Donut Palace, where the customer is still king.
All right, get down to West Plains Pawn and Gun. WestPlainsPawn.com on the web, 417-256-3000. It's 417-256-3000. And I want you to get over to Pizza Hut. They have an outstanding buffet that they do that at lunchtime. I think it runs from like 11 to 2. And they've got pizza and a salad bar there. I go there all the time. It's an outstanding place. Great place to get yourself a good, inexpensive, but healthy lunch. I love that salad bar. And half the time, you know, you just have one slice of pizza and the rest of it's just salad. It's good for you, very inexpensive, and they're great folks down there. They're supporters of this show, so support them. This is Pizza Hut on Porter Wagoner Boulevard in West Plains. Our friends over at the Battery Station at 303 Washington Avenue, they'll be down at the gun show today, as will West Plains Pawn and Gun. They are at 303 Washington Avenue, right off the square in West Plains. They can be found on the website, or their website can be found on the internet at batterystation.com. Their phone number is 417-257-7799. That's 417-257-7799. If you go to the battery station today, and they are open on Saturdays, or if you go to the gun show, make sure you get one of those life straws. I told you about these life straws. These are a $20 item that you can throw into a knapsack or a backpack or a bug-out bag or just carry in your car. And basically what these are is a little plastic straw that is about the size around of a quarter. And it's got caps on both ends. You pop these caps off, you can stick this right down into a pond, a stream, a creek, a brook, a river, whatever it is that you need to, even a puddle of dirty water. And you can suck up water out of there that is 99.9% free of all kinds of bacteria, giardia, and all the necessary stuff that you want to get out of water. So basically, it's a life straw, and it's called that for a reason, folks. This is the kind of thing that you're crazy if you don't have one for every member of your family. They're $20. I know that Battery Station just got in a cartons and cartons of them. So get down to the Battery Station or get down to the gun show today and make sure that you buy one for every member of your family, maybe two. Our friend over at Stone Construction, Bill Stone, is doing all kinds of work in the community and around town here. Bill has been in the construction business for the past 40 years, and he handles everything from pole barns and shops to welded pipe corrals, concrete work, decks, shop work. Excuse me. He's a full-service contractor that does dirt work and framing, foundations, electrical, plumbing, roofing, concrete, does even hardwood floors on internal work. If you're considering having any kind of construction, remodel, new, custom construction, light commercial, heavy commercial, get a hold of Bill Stone over at Stone Construction at 293-0116. That's 293-0116. They've done some great projects like Faith Assembly South Edition, the 11 Point Equine Center, a number of other places. They restored the Big Yellow House, which is kind of a community development location here in West Plains. They've built a lot of residential homes and duplexes and Mastercraft office renovation and a host of other things. They even have a program out there if you're considering building a house or you're buying a modular and you want to plant it on your own foundation. He does a construction management project that would be an outstanding opportunity for you to get your feet wet in construction management, but without making all of the normal mistakes that inexperienced homeowners do when they try to general contract their own project. And so basically you can contact Stone Construction at 293-0116 and talk to him about his construction management program. It'll save you money. It provides quality control. It gives you subcontractor procurement so that you know where to go out and get a subcontractor to do the plumbing or to do the concrete work. And they offer they'll help you get competitive pricing on materials and all of this stuff, and it's just an absolute outstanding project. So basically, he kind of holds your hand through the process, which is extraordinarily valuable if you've never done anything like that before, but you're on a tight budget. You get a chance to GC your own project and making sure that you've got somebody who's mentoring you so you don't drop the ball and make a big mistake that might cost you, more money than you thought you were going to save, right? So it's Bill Stone over at Stone Construction, 293-0116. My dear friend Mary over at Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, who's got the best damn bakery you can find in 100 miles. She can be found at 255-2253 on your phone, and she can be found at number 2 Evans Arcade right off the square in West Plains. And I'm going over there right after I get off this radio show because I'm going to need some coffee. Mary, if you're listening to me, I need coffee. And you know just how I take it. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, an outstanding place where you can get fresh breads and pastries and all kinds of bonbons and beautiful things. I go over there, and she's just got the most amazing stuff. It absolutely melts in your mouth. Great pricing, wonderful place. You will not be disappointed. Does special orders if you've got a family party or a family reunion or some kind of an event coming up. If you'd just like to get your special somebody something for Valentine's Day, go on in there and Mary will box it up for you and you can take it home and surprise your significant other, man or woman. Absolutely a wonderful place. And our friends over at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance as well. You can find them on the web at ozarkmtnselfreliance.com. Brian is a good friend of mine and a hell of a patriot and a hell of an American. You can find him on the telephone at 870-492-4030. That's 892-4030. I'm sorry, 870-492-4030. He's a half mile east of Walmart at 3225 Route 62 in Mountain Home. Now, Brian has all kinds of products down there for self-reliance and self-reliant living, also for camping and survival and those types of things. He's got these Berkey water systems down there that'll just blow your doors off. You pour water in the top, it comes out the bottom, it's gravity fed, and it wipes out any kind of issues that you might have in your water. I have one at home, and I live by it. So make sure that you participate with the folks down at Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance. So, okay, support your supporters, guys, because they're supporting you, and they're supporting this program, and, that's how we survive out here, right? This is a completely voluntary effort. By the way, if you could donate some funds to us, you can do that on our website, or you can mail us a check. We could really use your support and assistance. This is a complete voluntary effort. We have no support from anyone other than our listenership, and we could really use support with our costs and expenses in carrying on the show. So if you can find us, you can go to our website at americasvoicenow.org. You can click a button there that says donate, and you can just go through PayPal and either donate cash or use a credit card to do so. And anything that you would donate, we would be very, very grateful and appreciative for. Hey, caller, welcome to the show.
Well, greetings, Mike.
Good greetings.
Yeah, I just have a comment on your add-on bill you want to make.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
Well, part of it's really good, but if you're going to make a bureaucratic nightmare for people, for like the average RC modelist that happens to have one of those that a drone.
Well, I would say it's got to have a surveillance function to it, right? We're not talking about the kind of thing that you would go out and buy, like one of those model airplanes that you can fly remotely.
Right.
But if you're going to put a camera on it, now you got to register it.
Well, okay, you can buy them with the camera on it. See, if I have one, I want to watch my cows. Okay.
Right.
In a private sense, I don't see that it having an advantage over the private individual. He's going to lose a right by you making that law.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to create a nightmare because there's thousands of them things out there, probably in Missouri alone.
Okay. So you want to? What you're suggesting is that we got to find a way to exempt private citizens.
Well, I don't think even. Well, yeah, right. I don't think you need a law to make it illegal for me to have one, and you can protect people just by the fact that if I use my drone, my private drone, to spy on my neighbor, I've committed a violation there, and you don't need any extra laws to prevent that.
Right. Okay.
And
listen. By all means, sir, you're absolutely right. I'm not perfect. I just was sitting. I was watching that eagle fly or whatever the heck that was,
right.
An owl or whatever. And I was thinking to myself, the simple solution to this problem is that every agency or corporate entity or anyone who has a drone has to register it. Now,
for public. What's
that?
For public use.
For public use. Okay, and maybe that's the wording. We'll have to come up with a way to. Here's my concern with exemptions. The next thing you know is that a reporter buys one individually, personally, and he's exempted because he bought it personally, and he says, well, I'm an independent correspondent, and I don't belong to a newspaper. I just take my stories and I submit them, and whoever buys that story from me, that's who I work for. And that would be my fear. I mean, here's the problem. Anytime you have a loophole, somebody finds it and exploits it.
Right.
Right? Now, I get what you're saying, too. And I guess what we need to do is put some intelligent, articulate thought to this and figure out what is the right way to protect ourselves while simultaneously not giving ourselves a bureaucratic nightmare or limiting the rights of a guy like you who is a rancher and says, hey, I want to be able to buy a drone where I can zoom around and follow my own sheep or my own cows or my own goats. And I get that,
Right.
You're absolutely entitled to do that. So I guess you're right. Maybe it needs a little bit of thought. And if anybody else has any input or thoughts on it, by all means, that's the whole point of this. And listen, guys, I'm never perfect, right? I'm not always right. If you've got something that you think will improve or improve on the quality of any of the projects that we talk about, absolutely pick up the telephone and call me. That's what this game is about. It's all of us together, not just me.
Thank you, Mike. I was just trying to help.
And you sure as hell did. Thank you. Appreciate you. Folks, we're going to take a break. It's the bottom of the hour. When we come back, I want to talk about the next bill in line. There's two of them, actually, that we're going to cover this morning. One is the right to work legislation, which I already hammered on a little bit this morning. And the other one is the Second Amendment Preservation Act. And again, these are two critical bills that we got to get through. We'll be back in just a minute.
I'm Pat O'Neill. A severe winter storm in the Northeast is gradually leaving the area, but it's left behind a lot of white stuff in New England and in New York State.
Snow is still falling in Long Island and also in the New England states. Connecticut has gotten about 3 feet of snow, and we're hearing Boston really got clobbered with about 2 feet of snow, and as mentioned, the snow's still falling.
Fox's Anna Koyman, some 600,000 homes and businesses without power. The winter storm having a ripple effect on travelers in many other areas of the country, too.
Once the planes start flying,
it's plain mathematics. If there's only X number of seats and there's X plus Y number of people.
Suburban Dallas travel agent Kathy Banks also says it may be too late now, but next time, think about spending the money on travel insurance.
Fox News Radio's Rich Johnson. Some 5,300 flights have been canceled in New York and Boston. Fox, this is a Fox News Alert.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
Complete service and satisfaction is the Earl's Dodge Jeep difference from all the other dealers in the Ozarks. Hello, I'm Janet, and I invite you to come check out our new and pre-owned on the lot at Earl's Dodge Jeep on North Highway 63 across from the fairgrounds in West Plains, where we go out of our way to make you happy. That means doing what it takes to make sure you're satisfied with your total package on your new purchase, which means taking care of you after the sale. It all adds up at Earl's Dodge Jeep, where buying a vehicle is as simple as it should be.
Having difficulty with your computer? Do you think it has a mind of its own? Well, don't be alarmed. This happens to everyone at some point in time. Worry no more. Computer Dave and Kyle can help you out with PC Geeks, a weekly show right here on 107.1 The Point. Tune in Thursdays at 1 o'clock to ask computer-related questions and listen to the web topic of the week. That's PC Geeks here on 107.1 The Point.
Another year older, another birthday blood. Not when you're listening to the Birthday Club here on 107.1 The Point each morning during the morning show. Proudly presented by Ryan's Family Restaurant. Call in your loved ones, your mom, dad, grandma, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, nieces, whoever, for their chance to be the winner of a great buffet and drink from Ryan's Family Restaurant. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you from 107.1 The Point and Ryan's Family Restaurant.
Weather is a service of News Talk 107.1 The Point. Contact Josh or Cody at 255-2548 for more information on making weather sponsorships part of your marketing plans.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have increasing clouds, high near 52 degrees. Tonight, we have a chance of showers and thunderstorm with a low around 40 on Sunday. Showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high near 60. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
All right, the capitalist break is over. I love capitalism, people. Free market, free enterprise. That's what this is about. That's what made our country strong. That's what made our country great. When the state's involved in every decision that we make, we don't have freedom. We don't have economic freedom. We don't have religious freedom. We don't have the freedom to do as we choose, to live our lives in a way that we feel best suits us. The rules of the game are this. As long as you do nothing to hurt anyone else, either economically or physically, what you do is none of the government's business. That's it. That's the only rule that ought to apply, people. In fact, we could take those millions of pages of government regulations, both state and federal, and shred them. And use the confetti for the next Super Bowl. Because all we need to do is put a legislative piece in place that says everyone may do as they so choose as long as they do not economically hurt anyone else and or cause physical injury or economic loss to another human being. And if you do, you must make remuneration. That's it. Now, criminal laws, sure. Guy goes in and he robs a bank and shoots the teller, shoots a security guard, hang him high. I'm all for it. But you've got to have an even-handed and objective application of the law. That is the difference between a democracy and a republic. And let's not forget, we're a republic. What is a republic and a democracy? What's the difference? Who can define that for me? Well, I can define it for you very quickly. Here's what it is. In a democracy, the majority rules. In a republic, the majority rules, but there are basic foundations in law which protect the minority from abuses by the majority. Aha! There you go. So what does that say? Well, that says that we can't sit there and pilfer from the 1% because they're the rich. and take their money and give it to a group of ne'er-do-wells who will do absolutely nothing but squander that money and get fat and dependent on someone else's work. That's why we have a republic, folks, not a democracy. Up until 1954, the United States federal government defined democracy as mob rule. Because if 10 of us live on an island, and 7 of us are lazy, and 3 of us work like Hebrew slaves, building the pyramids, the 7 of us don't have the right to say that the 3 of you, or the 3 other people, their rights and their property can be taken away, and the fruits of their labor can be taken away to support the 7 of us who want to just basically lay around on the beach all day and catch a suntan. That is the definition of the rule of law. So the majority can rule on things where it does not impact the minority in a negative or detrimental way. That's a definition of a republic. We are a republic. We are not a democracy. And every government agent out there, every employee of the government, every senator, every congressman you hear who uses the word democracy, if you hear them use that word, we're a democracy, your hackles should go up. Flags should be flying all over that play. If they don't know and cannot define for you the difference between a republic and a democracy, we should not have them in power. That's the truth. That is the truth. And that's truth you won't hear anywhere else. You're not going to hear it on any other talk shows. You're not going to hear it on the news. All right, I'm going to play something for you guys that's going to really frustrate you. And this is exactly why we need a rule of law. Listen to this.
Of his second term.
Yes.
But it also represented the countdown of the end of his presidency.
That's right.
And the reality is, like anything else, you better get what you can while he's there because, look, come 2016, that's it.
Well,
You better get what you can while he's there, because come 2016, that's it. Now, I'm not finished with this clip, and it's not really long. Caller, I'm going to ask you to hold for a moment while you listen to this clip. But this is really critically important, because listen to what Maxine Waters says next. Now, she's a representative. I want you to listen to what she says next, because this is some really, really scary stuff.
No, and I think some people are missing something here. The president has put in place an organization that contains the kind of database that no one has ever seen before in life.
The kind of database that no one has ever before seen in life. Listen.
That's going to be very, very powerful, and whoever...
In terms of the Organizing for America that he's now shifting to become a 501c4.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And that database will have information about everything on every individual in ways that it's never been done before.
Did you hear that? That database will have information about everything on every individual in ways that it's never been done before. This is a president who is building an enemies list and then handing that off to a 501c4 corporation, which is a PAC that is designed to basically promote the Democratic Party and their candidates. And I'm telling you, people, that this is an admission of guilt right here, that the federal government, and in specificity the President of the United States, has violated the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution. And I'm calling for House representatives to impeach him. Listen to this.
And whoever runs for president on the Democratic ticket have to deal with that. They're going to have to go down with that database and the concerns of those people.
They're going to have to go down with that database and the concerns of those people. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a damning admission on public news format that our president has been not only derelict in his duty, but has violated the Fourth Amendment, the rights of every American by building a dossier and a database on us. Listen.
Because they can't get around it. And he's been very smart. I mean, it's very powerful what he's leaving in place. And I think that's what any Democratic candidate is going to have to deal with.
How often are you...
Wow. Open admission on national television. Now, I'd like to see her brought in, and I'd like to see the president, and I'd like to see her under sworn testimony have to admit that to a congressional hearing. Ladies and gentlemen, this is dangerous stuff. Did you hear what she just said? Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch on the what you were saying about the laws, and I always felt that there should never be a law on victimless crimes. If there's no victim, there's no crime.
Right. I fully agree with you.
Right. Like if you them seatbelt laws is a good start right there. They started making these laws to protect you from you.
Right.
And that's where, we went wrong a long time ago on that.
Well, here's an example of that. Now, and the left will come out and say, well, wait a second now. If you don't wear your seatbelt and you get injured in an automobile accident and you don't have health insurance, then the rest of us have to pay for it. So therefore, it's causing economic injury. And here's my argument with that. Frankly, if you are not wearing your seatbelt and you are injured in an automobile accident and you don't have insurance that you have refused to purchase, or you don't have automobile insurance that will cover your injuries, then we are not obligated to carry your sorry sack rear end until death arrives at your door. We are not required as a society to sit here and protect every idiot and helpless and hapless knucklehead from themselves. If you choose to ride a motorcycle and you don't wear a helmet and you run into a curb and you bounce off that thing like a catapult being fired out of a cannon and you land on your stupid fool head and break it open, that's your problem, not mine.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%.
I have no sympathy for people who will sit there and swear up and down that somebody else has to save me from myself.
Hey, an idiot will never save himself from himself. All he'll do is get things done quicker.
We'd lean out the gene pool pretty damn quick, wouldn't we?
Well, yeah, exactly.
There is this thing called the law of nature that, the strong survive, right? And if we have to carry you and you are absolutely helpless and ineffective at functioning, I don't know what to suggest to you. But, it's not our obligation as a society to support everyone from cradle to the grave and give them free food and free housing and free this and free that. Stop banging out kids if you're not capable of paying for them. Stop acting like an idiot. Grow up, educate yourself, get a damn job, and work. Like you expect those of us who do work to pay for you.
I didn't have health insurance for the last 30 years because, when the factories all figured they couldn't afford it, that was the end of that, see? Well, I was real careful not to kill myself or find myself in a ditch and all that, and I've been doing just fine. But I everywhere I go, I know I ain't got health insurance.
Well, the simple truth is this, and it's not just a question of health insurance. It's all kinds of other things, too. There are a million laws out there that are used that are victimless crimes, what's called consensual crime, by the way. And if anybody wants to look this up, go out there and go to a browser and type in the term consensual crime and find out what exactly that list looks like, because it's absolutely enormous. And it covers everything from prostitution to riding without a motorcycle helmet on and everything in between. And, listen, I don't believe in prostitution, but if somebody chooses to sell their body and you choose to buy it, it's entirely up to you. It's nobody's place to sit there and try to make vice a morality issue that you can be penalized for. Well, it's nobody's place to tell you that.
For years and years, the government's been trying to dictate morality, and that changes with the parties.
Yeah, well, it also changes with societal's mores, right? I mean, if you're going to dictate morality, then tell the FCC that you can't be showing some of the crap on TV that you're showing.
Absolutely, and the biggest offenders of prostitution and gambling and stuff like that are usually politicians and judges.
Kind of funny, isn't it?
Well,
ask Bob Menendez out of New Jersey. He could tell you all about it.
Well, I better get out of here, Mike.
Hey, thanks so much for the call. We appreciate you. People, here's the deal. It is not up to the government to dictate every aspect of our lives. We are an intelligent, well-reasoned, articulate organization of people, and we have the right to live as we so choose to live, without somebody always dictating a rule to us. If you want to do something stupid, you go ahead, as long as you're responsible for your own actions. If somebody wants to go out there and smoke pot and ruin their own life and become an apathetic dunderhead, that's fine. You do that. It's your life that's on the line here, not mine. And I'm not responsible for you. I don't have any obligation to carry you when you collapse and fall in helpless, hapless idiocy. And that's the simple reality of it. And all of this crap about we have to, as a society, take care of those lesser. Listen, that's what charity is for, okay? That's what charity is for, which is a willful donation to those who are truly hapless or helpless. But we're not obligated to do that by law. And you know what? Charity has worked for centuries on the planet. So why did we migrate away from charity and into something as demonstrably abusive to the average citizen as laws that force us to take wealth from those who have earned it and worked hard for it and to redistribute it to those who are just absolutely freaking lazy? I'm sick of it. Enough's enough. If you want to sit at home and claim ignorance and stupidity because you're too damn lazy to pick up a book and educate yourself, shut off the TV, get off Facebook, go out there, read a book, educate yourself, and stop acting like a damn baby. We'll be right back.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
A big community event is coming to West Plains February 16, 2013. All ages and skill levels are encouraged to participate in the Heart of the Ozarks Half Marathon and 10K.
Proceeds will benefit the West Plains High School cross-country and track programs. There are 2 courses to choose from, a half marathon or a 10K.
Updates can be found on the Facebook page Heart of the Ozarks Half Marathon or www.joebilldixon.com.
More information can also be found on Cooper & Company weekdays from 6 to 8 a.m. on 107.1 The Point and The Drive Home on ESPN 100.9.
The further we reach out, the closer we all become. Hey, it's Nate Cooper here with the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. I invite you to join us Sunday mornings. The program is a combination of local and national known speakers. So I encourage you to do 2 things. Listen in on Sunday mornings from 8 until noon and find out how you can become a sponsor of one of the programs. Just call our offices at 255-0427. Beyond the Point, Sundays on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
There is this product on Amazon that is simply going crazy. The banana slicer, almost 2,500 consumer reviews. I've been trying to come up with an ideal way to slice a banana. Use a knife, they say. Well, my parole officer won't let me around knives. Or how about this one? What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel or penicillin? Obviously, just a pure hoax.
Saturdays noon to 3 for the Kim Commando Show, and weekdays at 7:20 for your digital minute. That's Kim Commando on the Ozarks Best News Talk.
That Tom Jones clip at the back of that commercial was pretty good. Do you remember that song? She's a lady. Hey, I want to talk about this new act out here for right to work. And before we go there, by the way, there's a couple things I got to remind you of. One, the gun show in West Plains at the Civic Center today and tomorrow. Make sure that you get down there at some point over the course of the weekend. Participate, show your support. Make sure that you're helping to keep these gun shows alive, because that is the lifeblood of the transfer of firearms in our nation. It's nobody's damn business who sells and buys a gun from one guy to another. We don't have to register. We don't need background checks. I've had enough of that crap. Leave us alone! Back off. The second issue is make sure that you get up to Van Buren today to support Bob Parker if you can, or your candidate of choice if you don't support Parker, and that's fine, as long as you're voting intelligently and you're an educated voter and not parroting somebody else's opinion. If you're going to get up there and tell me that somebody else is the right candidate, then you better prove your point why he's better than somebody else. Don't tell me that you heard something about somebody or you've read one thing on their website or read one pamphlet and you are going to parrot me their talking points. Because that, ladies and gentlemen, is not an educated voter. An educated voter is someone who goes out and does their due diligence and understands expressly what that candidate stands for. And if you're not ready, willing, and able to do that, then do us all a favor and don't vote. Okay? Now, you're not going to get a chance to vote today because Joanne Emerson robbed you of that opportunity by effectively running against Parker, knocking him out of the block in the primary, winning the federal election, and then 28 days later, from her number one briber-in-chief, she took a job for $1.7 million and basically gave you the shaft. And that, in concert with the Republican Party, was designed to do one thing and one thing alone. That was basically to make sure that you didn't have a chance to choose your own representative. So, according to state law and the Republican Party, they have an opportunity to now pick the candidate for us, the chairman and the vice chairman of each of the 86 districts. And so basically they're voting today up in Van Buren. If you have an opportunity to get up there and let them know where you stand and who you would like to see elected to run in the upcoming special election on the Republican ticket, then make sure that you get up there today. It's going to be held in Van Buren. The information is up on our website and it's up on Facebook. Make sure that you get out there, you go over there and support the candidate of your choice. And if your choice is Parker, then get up there with a sign and let these people know that you are supporting a representative to go to Congress who we can trust, that is going to do the right thing by us and finally represent us, not the party. I'm sick of the party. I'm sick of the party line. I don't want the party to tell me how and where and why and under what circumstances my representative is going to support me, but only after they've supported the party. The hell with the party. You don't represent me. My representative represents me. And if my representative is going to toe the party line before they follow their oath of office and their obligation to me, then they can get the hell out. How's that? It's time for America to grow up. Put on your big boy pants, pull them up, buckle them down, and live. And stop waiting for somebody else to do everything for you, to wipe your snotty little nose and wipe your dirty little butt. Grow up. For crying out loud, America, get on the stick. Stop expecting everybody else to solve every little problem in your life. Take responsibility for your actions. Take responsibility for who and what you are, and live. Gee whiz. But no, you've all been inculcated and indoctrinated by a public school system and by the mass media and everybody around you to think, well, it's never my fault. I'm not responsible. Somebody's got to help me. Nobody's got to do a damn thing for you. When are you going to grow up and wipe the snot off your own nose? Well, I don't have an education. That's because you chose not to have one. I'm not really too smart and I can't. That's because you refuse to crack a book and read. Why don't you crack a book? I can't spell. That's because you don't know how to read. Well, I don't know how to read. That's because you refuse to go to a literacy class. I don't have the time. Bunk! Shut off the Kardashian crap you're watching and stop watching the Oxygen Channel and start going out there and educating yourself. For criminy's sake, get off Facebook, shut off the damn computer, shut off the TV, and pick up a book and learn. Find a subject, whatever that subject may be that interests you. Go to the free library on your way back from wherever it is you go and get a book for free. Take it home, crack it, read it, and then expound on it and discuss it with somebody else so that you can formulate your opinion out of your own educated opinion, out of your own education. You know, you'll start to talk about what you just read and what you learned. And as time goes on, you're going to say, you know, I agree with this principle and I disagree with this one. And you'll start to formulate your own educated opinion. You'll start to have enough information to make informed decisions. You'll start coming off like you actually know something about the topic that you're about to espouse and spout. Damn it! Instead, you're going to go around and parrot somebody else's opinion that you heard, instead of formulating your own and using critical thinking skills that you've absconded and abandoned. You've abdicated them. How dare you? And then expect somebody else to carry your sorry ass. How dare you? Why? Who's responsible for you? No one. Get out there and do the right thing for once in your lousy life. Crack a book. Educate yourself. Watch something intelligent on television. Go to the Discovery Channel. Go turn on the channel that shows you documentaries. And shut off the sitcoms and the mind-bending and mind-altering trash fed to you by the mass media. Am I mad at everybody? No. But I tell you what, there's a certain percentage of us out there that are sitting there absolutely enslaved to dependence. And all of us fall at some point in time or another, in one way or shape or form or another. What's your addiction? What is it you've fallen down on? Where have you given up your right to self-sovereignty and self-determination? Where? How? Look in the mirror and find it, and then eradicate it from your life. Every one of us is guilty of that. Every one of us is guilty of not picking up the telephone and fighting for our own rights to survive. It's tireless. I get it. It's thankless. I get it. It's hard. I get it. But you don't just quit. If you want to quit, they got a place where you can go live like that. It's called prison. They take care of your every need. You never get an electric bill. You don't have to worry about whether or not the water is hot. You got everything handed to you. Your meals are cooked for you. It's called prison. Everybody fears it, but we all live in our own, of our own making, no less. Damn, America. Is that the way you want to live? I'm so frustrated at our nation because everybody is asleep and willing to stay there. Grab yourself by the bootstraps and stand up. Wake up. Take all of that stuff that separates you from action and eliminate it from your life. All of it. Whatever it is. We'll be right back.
News Talk for Missouri and Arkansas. 107.1 KBMV, Birch Tree, West Plains. The Point.
I'm Chris Foster. The plow guys are earning their money today in the Northeast. More than 2 feet of snow down in southern New England, where it's still falling.
Really, the bullseye was that central Connecticut area, and some of those areas saw snow coming down around 6 inches an hour. That's incredible snowfall rates to see it falling like that. Boston officially at Logan Airport is at 21.8, and they still have another probably 4 or 5 inches to come. So we'll see if where they get into the record books.
That's Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. More than 650,000 homes and businesses are without power, thousands of airline passengers stranded.
The outlook for getting a flight home is better today than it was during storms a few years ago, as the airlines have made big changes.
They've gotten smarter about where their planes need to be so that on the other side of the storm, they can get things back to normal as quickly as possible.
But travel agent Kathy Banks says it's still a numbers game, just so many seats and far more travelers competing for those seats.
Fox News Radio's Rich Johnson. There's still a manhunt on in a Southern California resort town for an ex-LA cop who's wanted for triple murder.
SWAT team officers wearing ski masks and camouflage are returning to the mountain, searching 200 empty vacation cabins after a day of heavy snow and severe temperatures prevented an overnight search. Better weather Saturday should allow helicopters to rejoin the effort with their thermal imaging technology, but there's still no sign of Christopher Dorner. Safety experts say even with the former Navy reservist survival training, Unless he has adequate protection, he'll not survive the elements for long if he has to move to evade the authorities. And San Bernardino officials say they cannot even confirm he's still even on the mountain. In Big Bear Lake, California, Dominic DiNatale, Fox News Radio.
First Lady Michelle Obama attends a funeral in Chicago today for a 15-year-old girl shot dead in a park days after performing at an inaugural event. You're listening to Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
You're in the Foxlight.
Denzel Washington is the anti-Sully in this week's Foxlight DVD release roundup as the drinking and drugging pilot who saves lives but can't save himself in flight. Also starring Don Cheadle and a scene-stealing John Goodman. Kevin James is a biology teacher who aims to save his school's music program by moonlighting as an MMA fighter in Here Comes the Boom, with Salma Hayek and Henry Winkler. Tyler Perry is a rare actor for hire in Alex Cross, taking over for Morgan Freeman as the young version of the James Patterson character, facing off against serial killer Matthew Fox. Or if you prefer classic Perry, Medea Gets a Job, the play arrives this week as well. And the free Foxlight blog and podcast at foxnewsradio.com has even more. In New York, Rob Moorer, Fox News Talk.
The Foxlight.
Keep listening for more focus from the Foxlight on Fox News Talk.
Dozens hurt in fighting between protesters and security forces in Egypt.
Security forces at the presidential palace kept demonstrators at bay with water cannons, tear gas, and barbed wire, but protesters continued late into the night, calling for President Mohamed Morsi to step down. Other clashes in the cities of Alexandria, Zagazig, and Tanta led to more injuries. Protests against the Islamist president and his government have become weekly occurrences here, but a recent uptick in violence has left 70 people dead and hundreds wounded in recent weeks. Egypt's leading opposition group is refusing to engage in dialogue with the president until he takes responsibility for the violence, which the government blames on the opposition. In Cairo, Kimberly Adams, Fox News Radio.
Germany's education minister steps down, accused of plagiarism and stripped of her doctorate. Annette Schiavon is found to have copied parts of her thesis more than 30 years ago. She denies it and says she'll sue the University of Dusseldorf over the accusation. The Grammy Awards are tomorrow night with a lot of live performances.
Bruno Mars, Rihanna, and Sting will hit the stage together in one of the most anticipated collaborations. But it doesn't stop there. A tribute to Levon Helm has Mavis Staples, Brittany Howard, Elton John, and Mumford & Sons performing together. Another planned pairing, Maroon 5 with Alicia Keys. Dierks Bentley and Miranda Lambert will hit the stage for a duet, and so will the Black Keys and the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. Travis Barker, Chuck D, LL Cool J, Tom Morello, and DJ Z-Trip will also sing together. Sabrina Sabah, Fox News Radio.
A 63-foot fish and wildlife boat sinks, docked in Kodiak, Alaska, with no one on board. Crews are working to get the Arleuk back up before a storm moves in. The research vessel is used by 2 Alaska Peninsula wildlife refugees. I'm Chris Foster, Fox News Radio.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
Breakfast is the most important meal of the day, and the Donut Palace is open at 5 a.m. every day.
The best donuts made fresh daily like Long John's, Eclairs, Bear Claws, and old-fashioned donuts. Try a hot and fresh bacon, egg, and cheese croissant or a kolache sandwich for breakfast and pair it up with some Starbucks coffee.
Start your morning right with the Donut Palace. And for the busy people, the drive-thru can get you your order even quicker. Located at 914 Broadway in West Plains, the Donut Palace, where the customer is still king.
Do you want to challenge yourself in 2013? Have you ever thought about running a marathon but have never earned the courage to do so? Do you love supporting West Plains High School? You can do all 3 on February 16th. The Heart of the Ozarks Half Marathon and 10K will take place in West Plains. Chip timing will be used for fast, accurate results, post-race massages, first aid, and refreshment stages along the way. All will be provided by caring and supporting volunteers. If you're interested in signing up as a runner or volunteer, call 417-293-3554 or stop by Flow Fitness for more details.
Weather sponsorships are now available on News Talk 107.1 The Point. Get more information, email info@diamondmediaradio.com for complete details.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have increasing clouds, high near 52 degrees. Tonight, we have a chance of showers and thunderstorms with a low around 40. On Sunday, showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high near 60. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
It's about the restoration of our republic. We want to educate, encourage, enable the power. We stand for integrity, honesty, self-reliance, self-defense, and most importantly, no compromise on our foundational principles. This is America's Voice Now.
Find America's Voice Now on Facebook and at americasvoicenow.org. Here's Michael Evans.
Hey, folks, do you know why this show is called America's Voice Now? Do you know why? Because now, today, is different than any other day in history. Today is different than you've ever lived before. You have an obligation and a duty to stand up and live your own life. You've been given the tools. You've been given everything that you need. All the infrastructure, all the framework is in place. All you've got to do is take advantage of it. In America, we've fallen down on our own. We've stepped on our own members with golf cleats. We've abdicated every level of responsibility that we have to ourselves and those around us, to our nation as a whole, to our country and the foundations upon which it was built. What are you going to do today to make a difference? I want to know. What are you going to do? You're part of this fabric. You're a thread in it. But you've got to stop sitting around waiting for somebody else to fix everything for you. You've got to stop sitting around waiting for somebody to take action on your behalf. You must take the action. You must grow up. We're catatonic. Sitting here waiting for somebody to move our sorry sack lazy butt out of the middle of the road so we don't get run over by the steam engine of society. There's nothing wrong with your arms and legs. Pick yourself up and move yourself off the road. Well, I can't. I'm lazy. That's your problem. Fix it. Get over it. I can't, I'm not educated. Then educate yourself. Get out there and find yourself a book about a topic or a subject you like and learn it. Be a subject matter expert on that thing, whatever it may be. And I don't care whether it's how to thread a needle or whether it's how to do brain surgery. But for crying out loud, pick something and live by it. Have the courage of your convictions to stand up and say your piece, even in the face of danger, damn it. And forget what people think of you. And stop worrying about how people are going to view you or talk about you. Do you think that when I sit here behind this microphone that everybody likes what I say? No. Do I care? Hell no. If you don't like it, you don't have to listen. And I don't really care whether everybody thinks I'm too aggressive or too harsh. I am harsh. You know why? Because America needs correction. America needs correction and direction. And nobody's given that to us in a really long flippin' time. Nobody is standing up and saying, this is what we need to do. This is how we go about doing it. We pick up the can, we lift it up, we put the lid on it, we take it out to the street. We got to take the trash out of our society, people, and it's up to you to do that. I get it. Life's hard. Life's tough. Nobody promised you it was going to be easy. And you've been living on that ease of laurel and sitting on your laurels for your entire life, waiting for that great big break, waiting for the wonderland to land, for utopia to arrive. The hell are you waiting for? Come on. You know it's not out there. You came into this world with nothing. You're going out the same doggone way. He who dies with the most toys doesn't necessarily win. The truth of the matter is that if we really want to live our lives properly, if we want to make the most of ourselves, it's up to you to do it. No public school is going to teach your kid that. They're going to teach your child mediocrity. They're going to teach your child communal living. They're going to teach your child the cooperative approach. That it's all for the betterment of society, and you're a self-sacrificial lamb to accomplish that. Hey, let me tell you something. Society is made up of a group of us, individuals. And if you've got to sacrifice yourself on the altar for somebody else who doesn't even give a damn, how ridiculous a thought is that? That, ladies and gentlemen, is suicide. Just slow and painful. Not only for you, but the people who are dependent upon you. I mean, come on. I wonder why everybody else is not out there doing something to drive activity, to drive change. We should be living every waking moment, writing, educating ourselves, reading, espousing our principles, our beliefs, our thoughts, our theories, our dreams, our hopes, and living them. What are you waiting for? Nobody's going to hand you some silver platter. What are you waiting for? There is no perfect world. There is no utopia. There's no free food. There's no free phones. There's no free housing. There's no free medical care. There's no free cars. If you want all those things for free, then you have assigned yourself to slavery to obtain them. Don't you get it? You've traded off your freedom for things that you think are free. It's insanity. And I know you're too intelligent to fall for it. You don't have to be a Rhodes Scholar to see that. You don't even have to have a third grade education. All you need is a little life experience to recognize that if you're going to trade off everything that your life is deigned and designed to be for some false level or sense of freedom from products or things that are given to you, you have given up your freedom to it in exchange for those. That welfare check comes with a price. That EBT card comes with a price. I get it, it's a trap. And you're caught in it. It's a spider web and you don't know how to extricate yourself. Well, you can start immediately. You don't have to be intelligent and you don't have to be educated and you don't have to have a good job to make a difference. You can start by making a difference in your own son's or your own daughter's life. You can start by putting down the damn pipe. Quit smoking that stupid dope. Because it makes you a stupid dope. Knock it off. Grow up. Quit drinking. Stop it. Just stop it. You don't have to be, It's just beyond my comprehension why people consistently do things that are self-destructive and then want to lay the blame at the feet of everybody else. Oh, my father was mean to me, beat me up. My mother wasn't nice to me. I was abused. I know. And it was hurtful, and it was harmful, and it left scars on you. But look at the number of people who have been abused physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, whatever, who have succeeded, and emulate that. Follow their lead. You don't succeed by going about following losers. Tie yourself to people and things that will improve your position in life. You know, there's a great phrase out there that great minds talk about ideas. Mediocre minds talk about things, and shallow minds talk about people. If you're a gossip, extricate that from your life. Cut it out like a cancer. Stop talking about what Betty did and Bobby did and who's sleeping with who. Who gives a damn? Don't gossip. Have an intellectual, articulate discussion about ideas and beliefs and hopes and dreams and concepts. That is why we are a higher being. I mean, otherwise you may just go out, we'll go out in the field and sleep with the dogs. You have a beautiful opportunity to live your life in a way that will change everything about your existence. But you've got to take that and run with it. And stop waiting for somebody else to walk up and hand it to you and say, here's what you want. Because that day is never going to come. Never. Stop living in fear of what others think of you. Don't be afraid to get out there and dance and look like a damn fool. Enjoy yourself. Stop being afraid to ask that girl out. So what if she says no? Big deal. There's 3.5 billion other ones out there. Really. You know, we live our lives in these self-imposed prisons because we're embarrassed or we're shy or we're unwilling to become vulnerable or we're unwilling to allow someone else to see a vulnerable side to us that they might take advantage. And so we actually never come out of our shell. We remain ignorant. We remain stupid. We remain uneducated. What do you think your kids would think if one day they came home and the TV was shut off and you were found reading a book? They might do a double take. The heck is that? Mom is reading? I've never seen Mom read. What do you think that message would give to them? Maybe some hope that it's not a bad thing to read? That it's a great way to improve your vocabulary? That it's a great way to be a better speller? That it teaches you how to write because you see sentences formulated all the time? That it makes you more articulate in your speech? That you come off sounding a little bit more knowledgeable, a little bit wiser, a little bit better able to organize and express your thoughts? What's wrong with that? I'm asking you straight up. What's wrong with that? If you look at people who do succeed, look at what they do. Music is a perfect example. If you want to be successful at playing an instrument, you've got to dedicate a significant amount of time to it. It doesn't just come naturally. You may have a natural affinity for it, but if you don't practice it, it is never going to be an accomplishment for you. Ever. You may hear music in a great way that you can replicate it in your head, but you can't make your fingers make that flute tweet the right way unless you practice at it continuously. I don't care what your subject is. I don't care what you like. I don't care what you don't like. I don't care what interests you. Whatever it is, we all work together with our level of expertise to become something better. You have an opportunity and an ability to change the world around you, to change your own life. But you've got to do it for yourself. We're going to take a break. You know, I get calls after I do a show like this, and people say, you're too mean, you're too harsh. I don't need to hear that. Okay, maybe you don't. But maybe 20%, maybe 5%, maybe only 1% of the listening audience today gets motivated to get up and change their life. And guess what? It was worth it. Maybe one person begins to pick up a book and educate themselves. Maybe just one. Books are the greatest thing that has ever happened to mankind. Ever. They can disseminate principles, concepts, ideas, allow you to use your imagination, and stop living vicariously through someone else. That's not life. What's in it for you? What are you going to do to change your life today? I'm asking you to challenge yourself right here, right now. Shut off this radio, go stand in front of a mirror, turn on the damn light, look at yourself and say, what am I going to do today to make a difference in my life? What am I going to do to fix my life right here, right now, today? It's important. It's all we have. And by improving yourself, you improve those around you, you improve our society, you improve our nation, you improve everything. We'll be right back.
Come join us for the grand opening of CrossFit Somo's new facility, 220 North Kentucky Avenue, March 1st and 2nd. They offer classes 7 days a week with over 5,000 square feet of floor space. CrossFit Somo's staff of 7 Level 1 certified instructors will be with you 100% of the time to ensure a safe and effective workout. Classes are also available for ladies only and CrossFit kids. Memberships are filling up fast. Be a part of the CrossFit revolution. March 1st and 2nd. CrossFit Somo, forging elite fitness.
I know what you're thinking, punk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
I want to remind you guys to see some of our sponsors, because these guys are the ones who make these shows available to you every day. You know, this is a completely voluntary effort on my part, on the radio station's part, and we need your support. And one of the ways in which we get that is by having folks sponsor this show. and advertise with us. And it's really important that you pay them back in some way. You can pay it forward. And you can pay it forward by, when you need their services, make sure that you hit these folks first. If this is something that you need in your life or in your business or whatever, make sure that you're patronizing these people, because these are the people who are standing up for you. These are the guys who have looked in the mirror and said, what can I do to improve my life today? And they've started a business, and they've actively gone out there and put their money where their mouth is, and they put their thoughts and their beliefs and their hopes and their dreams into that business. And then they're willing to step up and pay some money to have their ads read on this show so that you will have an opportunity to go and patronize their business. That's the least that we can do. It's showing that you are willing to pay back, to pay it forward. Pizza Hut down on Porter Wagoner. How many of you have been there? All of you. Get in there and just go in there one day and say, you know what? Instead of going to some other place that I was going to go to, a fast food drive-thru, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to sit down and have myself a good, healthy salad. They got a salad bar in there that'll blow your mind. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's nice. And it's inexpensive. And they got plenty of pizza and all kinds of other junk. Eat healthy, live healthy, think healthy. Get over to Pizza Hut and enjoy what they have to offer. It's inexpensive. It's right on Porter Wagoner. Go in there and hit that salad bar one afternoon at their lunch buffet. It's very, very, it's open, I think, from 11 to like 2. So if you want to eat lunch early, go for it. Get yourself something healthy to eat. Go over to Pizza Hut and have that salad bar. I think it's wonderful. I go in there all the time. When you get in there, by the way, ask for Bree. She's a special friend of mine, and she will take good care of you. West Plains Pawn and Gun. This is the number one largest firearms location in a 100-mile area. Nobody's bigger than this guy. He's got 400 or 500 guns under glass and on the shelf. There's nothing in there that anybody can walk in there and find something they want. I don't care if it's a little .22 revolver you want to teach your kid how to shoot, or you want a little trapper's gun, or if you want a shotgun for turkey season, or if you're looking for a deer hunting rifle, if you want a home shotgun for self-defense, if you want a little .22 so that you can teach your family how to safely shoot and handle a firearm and gun safety, that's where you go. He's got great products down there. He's got all kinds of accessories. I mean, if you need an optic, if you need a scope, if you want to have a holster for a concealed carry weapon, it's there. Ammunition, pretty much anything that you could want in the firearm realm. Now, he's also a pawn shop, and I don't want to overlook that, but, that doesn't really interest me too much. I'm a firearms guy. I love guns. And so, if you're a guy or a girl who enjoys guns, then make sure that you get down there and see West Plains Pawn. You can find them on the web at westplainspawn.com. You can also phone them at 417-256-3000. It's 417-256-3000. They're on Route 160 just past Walmart. So you go right past the Walmart intersection or Walmart complex there, and you go down 160, and they're right there on the right-hand side about a mile or so down in a shopping plaza there. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. I think they'll be at the gun show today over at the Civic Center in West Plains too. So if you're going to be there, make sure you stop by and see them and tell them, you know what, I heard about you. I heard your advertisement on America's Voice Now, and I appreciate you supporting them. Thank you, because you're supporting me. Just say thanks. Doesn't take anything out of your time, nothing out of your day. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I'll wrap up with a couple of other ads that we got to run, and then we will try to cover these other two bills.
Alert. Folks in the Northeast are starting to shovel out of a major snowstorm. In some cases, we may be looking at unprecedented levels.
Really, the bullseye was at central Connecticut area, and some of those areas saw snow coming down around 6 inches an hour. That's incredible snowfall rates to see it falling like that. Boston officially at Logan Airport is at 21.8, and they still have another probably 4 or 5 inches to come. So we'll see if where they get into the record books.
Fox meteorologist Rick Reichmuth. Connecticut Governor Dan Malloy is is pleased with the public's response, with cleanup efforts underway.
All in all, I think things are going relatively well. And I'm most appreciative because citizens are listening to the warnings that we're giving and staying home.
Over 600,000 homes and businesses are without power in the Northeast. New York area and Boston airports have canceled 5,300 flights. This is a Fox News Alert.
I know what you're thinking, Bunk. You're thinking, did he fire 6 shots or only 5?
Dirty Harry gets all his ammo from the battery station. John Rambo, you guessed it. He gets his ammo from the battery station, too. So if you need ammo, go to the place where the guys who know about ammunition go, the battery station. They have one of the largest supplies of ammunition in the area. So make sure you're stocked up and don't get low on shells. Go to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains.
Here we go with round 2 of Hope and Change. Looking forward looks bumpy and rocky. Nobody's stimulated by high unemployment and tax increases. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance can help you be ready to face the challenges of the next 4 years. We have long-term food storage, ammunition, informational books and DVDs, water purifiers, and a whole lot more. Come see us at 3225 Highway 62 East, Suite number 3, just a half mile past Walmart in Mountain Home, or call us at 492-4030. That's Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance.
The further we reach out, the closer we all become. Hey, it's Nate Cooper here with the Ozark's Best News Talk 107.1 The Point. I invite you to join us Sunday mornings. The program is a combination of local and national known speakers. So I encourage you to do 2 things. Listen in on Sunday mornings from 8 until noon and find out how you can become a sponsor of one of the programs. Just call our offices at 255-0427. Beyond the Point, Sundays on the Ozark's Best News Talk 107.1.
The Gun and Knife Show is at the West Plains Civic Center today and tomorrow, presented by TLR Shows. The show is open to the public. Admission is $5 for both days. Children under 12 are free with a paying adult. Concessions will also be available. Come in and see the variety of guns, knives, and related items. You can buy, sell, or trade. Don't miss the Gun and Knife Show at the West Plains Civic Center today from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. For more information, call 417-778-6767.
There is this product on Amazon that is simply going crazy. The banana slicer, almost 2,500 consumer reviews. I've been trying to come up with an ideal way to slice a banana. Use a knife, they say. Well, my parole officer won't let me around knives. Or how about this one? What can I say about the banana slicer that hasn't already been said about the wheel or penicillin? Obviously, just a pure hoax.
Saturdays noon to 3 and weekdays at 7:35 for your digital minute. It's Kim Commando on the Ozark's Best News Talk 107.1.
News Talk 107.1 The Point weather sponsorships are available for your business marketing plans. Contact Cody or Josh at 255-2548 for more information.
From the Point Weather Center for this morning, we have increasing clouds, high near 52 degrees. Tonight, we have a chance of showers and thunderstorm with a low around 40 on Sunday. Showers, possibly a thunderstorm, high near 60. I'm Dawn James, and for more information, visit my1071thepoint.com.
All right, we're back from that break. I just want to remind you guys to get down to the battery station at 303 Washington Avenue. That's right off the square in West Plains. You can get a hold of them by telephone at 257-7799. They have a ton of gear and stuff in there that'll meet pretty much any need that you might have, whether that be camping, survival, self-reliance, pretty much anything that you're interested in that arena. They also carry every battery known to mankind. And you can find them on thebatterystation.com. You can find them also on your telephone, 257-7799, 303 Washington Avenue in West Plains. Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, my friend Mary over there, who I'm going to go get a cup of coffee from in like 25 minutes. Mary, that's your hint. Hint, hint. Mary, she has great coffee over there, by the way, and she's also got the best pastries and stuff that you can ask for. So she can be reached at 255-2253, number 2 Evans Arcade, right off the square in West Plains. Best damn bakery you're ever find in 100 miles. Ozark Mountain Self-Reliance, Ozark MTN, selfreliance.com. Brian is a friend of ours at 870-492-4030, half mile east of Walmart on Route 62 in Mountain Home. And then Bill Stone over at Stone Construction. Make sure that you give him a chance at earning your business if you're thinking about doing any kind of construction, remodel, custom construction, light commercial, heavy commercial, farm work, deck work, concrete work, plumbing. He does it all. And so make sure that you give him a crack at that business. Good morning, caller.
Yeah, Mike, a couple of comments on those drones there.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm getting a little irritated at having to do research to find out what kind of laws they're breaking regarding that. I'm gonna get a hold of Bozeman and ask him, can we shoot them out of the sky if they're in our airspace?
Sure. Well, that's one of the reasons why, and here's what I would suggest, that you get this Missouri House Bill number 46, and you push the reps down in Arcanistan to institute it down there, because and the only difference is that I would add to it what I'm going to add to ours, or I'm going to try to get added to ours, which is to register all drones with a state database where they have to keep a flight plan logged, and they've got to retain images and pictures and videos that they've taken for an indefinite period of time, so that if they do violate your privacy, you have a way to prove it. The only exemption would be for private citizens who want to use them, for their own farm work or something like that.
Yeah, that
so
wouldn't have anything against the neighbor using them for his own purposes.
Right, as long as he's not watching my teenage daughter sunbathing in the backyard. But yeah, you get the idea. I mean, if a farmer wants to be able to go out there and look at his cows and stuff, there's nothing wrong with that, and he shouldn't have to be burdened with a database or a registration. But if you're a public agency, if you're a newspaper, if you're a fire department, if you're a law enforcement agency, if you're a government agency, then you need to keep you need to register that drone with a database and be forced to keep and retain all the information that you've taken, photographs, video, anything along those lines, and retain that indefinitely in a database where that database can be searched by someone who feels that they've been wronged to hold you accountable. I believe in that. I think that's a great idea.
Oh, 10-4. See, we don't know right now if for all we know, it could be the Chiacoms, KGB, or it could be the Milk Board looking for more cheese to seize.
There you go. Cheese to seize. There's a country song in that somewhere,
Otherwise, I'm going to have to presume, without clear and convincing evidence, for now that, they're searching without probable cause affirmation, oath or affirmation, outside the scope of due process.
Then, pull out the old Beretta and shoot it down.
But, of course, you do not want any dangerous cheese in circulation.
Yeah.
The other day you mentioned something about were they, along with the ammo and the automatic weapons, buying up a lot of rope. I'm going to take it that they're buying rope to hang themselves like the Japanese allies there with when they dishonor themselves, they commit harikiri.
Yeah. I think they actually have the rope for us, buddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to bust your bubble on that.
Well, I was going to donate one long seatbelt per bureaucrat if they'll promise me that's what they'll do. But and we can get more out of the junkyards. They're readily available.
There you go. They're everywhere.
No cost.
I'll go cut them out by myself if they'll just take it and go use it for its appropriate purpose, right?
You betcha. Now you had talking about seatbelts. You had an earlier caller. I appreciate his calls. It sounds like he's incensed by the seatbelt, unconstitutional seatbelt statute.
Yeah.
Now, I'll tell you what, I've got a good case on that, but it's kind of been set aside. The Honorable Judge Richard H. Brummer in Marion County, Illinois, had an opinion for that district over there, and he put an injunction on all three agencies, and the Illinois State Police got pretty upset with him, but he said, until I retire, there'll be no seatbelt citations in this district.
There you go.
And I got to talk to him in person on the phone, and he told me, he said, I'm the 1969 unconstitutional helmet opinion writer, and that's why we still don't have that.
Uh-huh.
Just the headlight. Well, his opinion makes it real clear. Okay, the 10th Amendment, the state has rights to pass laws for the general safety of the public, but it's obscure at best, both with the helmet and the seatbelt, how it would protect the general safety of the public.
Right.
And he says, I'll tell you what, though. He says, after I retire, he says, the traders will come back in, remove the injunction.
I'm sure they will.
And my mom lives in that district, and that is exactly what they've done. He's gone now.
There you go.
But, I don't get an opportunity to call a judge honorable very often, but I sure do respect that man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, once again, all this is treason, in my opinion. The reason is treason there, so.
Hey, it's tyranny every day, my friend. All we got to do is turn around and look around you, and it's everywhere. It's flying around us like the wind.
Roger. So, hey, I'll let you go.
Thanks, brother. I love you.
You bet. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Folks, there's 2 House bills out. There's 3 House bills out there. This drone bill, and I hope you're writing this down. There's the House Bill 46 that's an anti-drone measure, and basically it relates to unmanned aerial surveillance, and it says that it's illegal to use a drone unless you have a warrant, and unless there's an exigent circumstance, like, it's an imminent threat to life, imminent danger to life, and that no information that's obtained or collected in violation of the law can be admissible as evidence in a criminal proceeding or in any administrative hearing. And the reason they use the word administrative hearing is because, you can't, that would block the DNR from saying, hey, we caught your cow pooping in the river and therefore we're hitting you with this $1,000 fine, right? So that's a bill, House 46 bill. You want to get on the phone to every representative and senator that you can get your hands on in the state of Missouri and tell them that they need to co-sponsor and sign up for that one, because that is an absolute requirement. This drone crap is out of control, and if our president thinks that he can kill people over in Afghanistan or Syria or Sudan or any other darn place with these drones, next thing you know, we'll be hearing how Eric the Traitor Holder is writing an opinion that it's okay to kill Americans out in Kansas. So we need to call a halt to that right away, and this is the best way to accomplish it. I have an addition to that I want to add to it, and that is to register all drones with a state agency and file flight plans and capture and retain images and photographs and videos that are taken with those drones indefinitely. And the only exemption would be for private, like a farmer who wants to be able to have a drone or, private use. And that way, there's some accountability to it, because, this way we can protect ourselves from those who do use them and then hold their feet to the fire if they use them improperly. The second one is House Bill 77, and this is the Right to Work Act. And this one is critically important, as you heard me talking about earlier. If you were up and aware and awake, right to work is critically important for our state, economically as well as in every other respect. We need right to work here so that our state can draw businesses from the other regulatorily and taxation challenged areas, and we can basically say that we can invite these industries and businesses to our state to operate here, where we're not going to burden them with this undue regulation, and we're not going to tax the snot out of them to the point where there's no point in their running the business. So right to work states basically this: you don't have to join a union to have a job. And that's what employers are looking for. That's the regulation and legislation employers want, so that they can feel confident in coming here to our state. That's why they're flocking to Texas, people. Michigan just passed right to work, and that's the heart of the beast for unions. So if they can pass it there, we can sure pass it here. It's House Bill 77. It's introduced by Representatives Burlinson, and so far it has Jones, Bratton, Deal, Lichtenegger, Lant, Morris, Rybolt, Elmer, Frederick, Barr, Schatz, White, Duggar, Ross, Cookson, Anderson, and Kelly, all co-sponsors. Make sure that your rep, whoever that may be, is signed on there. Congratulations to Tony Duggar for signing on to this one, and Steve Cookson. Very good job, guys. And let's make sure that, and Robert Ross, by the way, also, I apologize, I didn't mean to skip his name. And let's make sure that these guys are all congratulated for standing up for the state of Missouri. Jeff Pogue and Sean Rhodes, I don't know if you guys are, that you're just not listed on this. And if you're not on board, we need you on board ASAP. Okay? That's House Bill 77. Start making your phone calls and your emails, people. Third bill, and this is the one that we absolutely got to pass. This is House Bill number 436. And this one's called the Second Amendment Preservation Act, with a penalty provision. I love this act, and I'll tell you why. The way they've written this thing, it is absolutely a declaration that you and I should be repeating to ourselves every single day. The General Assembly finds and declares that, 1, The General Assembly of the State of Missouri is firmly resolved to support and defend the United States Constitution against every aggression, either foreign or domestic, and the General Assembly is duty-bound to watch over and oppose every infraction of those principles which constitute the basis of the Union of the States, because only a faithful observance of those principles can secure the nation's existence and the public happiness. Hey, boy, who wrote that? 2. Acting through the United States Constitution, the people of the several states created the federal government to be their agent in the exercise of a few defined powers, while reserving to the state government the power to legislate on matters which concern the life, liberty, and properties of citizens in the ordinary course of affairs. 3. The limitation of the federal government's power is affirmed under the 10th Amendment of the United States Constitution, which defines the total scope of federal power as being that which has been delegated by the people of the several states to the federal government, and all power not delegated to the federal government in the Constitution of the United States is reserved to the states respectively or to the people themselves. It's a reiteration of the 10th. Whenever the federal government assumes power that the people did not grant it in the Constitution, its acts are unauthoritative, void, and of no force. Boom! By the way, this particular bill is getting an enormous amount of negative feedback out there in the mass media. And what that ought to tell you is this is exactly what we want. Here's what it states. All federal acts, laws, rules, orders, and regulations, whether past, present, or future, which infringe on the people's right to keep and bear arms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution and Article 1, Section 23 of the Missouri Constitution, shall be invalid in this state, shall not be recognized by this state, are specifically rejected by this state, and shall be considered null and void and of no effect in this state. Hear, hear. Section 2. All federal acts, laws, orders, rules, and regulations, including but not limited to the provision of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1934. That's where they made it illegal for you to own a machine gun, or a silencer or a suppressor, by the way. The provision of the Federal Gun Control Act of 1968, which was an exact duplication of Hitler's Nazi disarmament of the German people, just translated into English, the only modification being the switchblade. C. Any tax, levy, fee, or stamp imposed on firearms, accessories, ammunition not common to all other goods and services, which could have a chilling effect on the purchase or ownership of those items by law-abiding citizens. Any registration or tracking of firearms, accessories, or ammunition, which could have a chilling effect on the purchase or ownership of those items by law-abiding citizens. If any act forbidding the possession, ownership, use, or transfer of any type of firearm, accessory, or ammunition, any act ordering the confiscation of firearms, accessories, or ammunition, it shall be the duty of the courts and law enforcement agencies of the state to protect the rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms within the borders of this state from the infringements in subsection 3 of this section. 5. No public officer or employee of the state will have the authority to enforce or attempt to enforce any of the infringements on the right to keep and bear arms included in subsection 3 of this section. Any official, agent, or employee of the U.S. government who enforces or attempts to enforce any of the infringements on the right to keep and bear arms included in this subsection is guilty of a Class A misdemeanor, and any Missouri citizen who has been subject to an effort to enforce any of the infringements on the right to keep and bear arms shall have a private cause of action for declaratory judgment and for damages against any person or entity attempting such enforcement. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a bill with teeth. Get on board. House Bill 436. Here's who sponsored this. Funderburk, Jones, Burleson, Hicks, Sean Rhodes, Robert Ross, Miller, Parkinson, Ramoli, I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, Anderson, Herbst, Baer, B-A-H-R, Brown, Smith, Koenig, Kurtman, Duggar, that's Tony Duggar, Morris, Summer, Liera, Gatchenberger, Bratton, Schaefer, and Corman, and others. Make sure if you have your phone number for your rep that you are making sure he or she is co-sponsoring this, and we want this bill signed. This is an absolute declaration of the federal government that your overreach on the Second Amendment is unwarranted, null, and void. Have a nice day. Get lost. That, my friends, is restoring Missouri. That is what Restore Missouri is about. That's what we want. That's what we need. That's what we're driving for. Restore Missouri first. We'll worry about the federal government later. That's the deal, people. One thing at a time. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to remind you guys, by the way, because we're only going to have a minute when I come back, make sure that you are going up to 110 East Carter Street in Van Buren today at the River Center at the Landing. That's where the 8th District Republican nomination meeting is today, and that's where they're going to be voting for the representative who's going to go to Washington as a Republican for us. Joanne Emerson screwed us, stole our opportunity to choose our own candidate. The Republican Party is going to choose it for us. Make sure your voice is heard to influence that decision. And by the way, Republican Party, I don't like the secret ballot nonsense. Everybody who's a member and a vice chairman or a chairman who's going to stand up and vote ought to have the courage of their convictions to say their vote out loud. It's called transparency in government. Remember that. We'll be right back.
We believe the better the ingredients, the better the taste to bring to you the greatest tasting pastries possible. At Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, we use organic, locally sourced, and natural ingredients of the highest quality. Every item is handcrafted and baked fresh for you each and every day. Visit Chantilly's Artisan Bakery, number 2 Evans Arcade on the Courthouse Square in downtown West Plains, or call 255-2253, and you'll be glad you did.
Missouri State University West Plains will kick off its 50th anniversary celebration this year with a reunion and concert on February 15th at the West Plains Civic Center.
Hi, this is Kathy Morrison. I want to invite all former students and friends of the university to join us for this event. I hope to see you there.
The reunion starts at 7 p.m. and Ha Ha Tonka will perform later in the evening. Tickets are $5 and can be reserved. Call 255-7240 or wp.missouristate.edu for more information.
Last time on the Dennis Miller Show.
The Bureau's inquiry into Democratic New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez over allegations that he hired underage prostitutes is now based in New Jersey, not Miami. Now, this is obviously a horrific story if true, but I'm not even sure this gets you in the door in the corrupt Jersey Politician Hall of Fame.
Weekdays from 9 till noon is the Dennis Miller Zone on the Ozarks Best News Talk 107.1.
Don't you love Dennis Miller? I don't even think that gets you in the door of the New Jersey Corruption Hall of Fame. That is the truth, Dennis. Thank you very much for sharing that with us.
Hey, he doesn't pull any punches, does he?
No, he sure doesn't. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing good.
Good. You had a comment about the Sunshine Law and this vote thing going off today in Van Buren. Fire away.
Yeah, the private ballot or secret ballot keeps you from knowing how they voted.
Right.
The elected officials.
Right.
Under the Sunshine Law, they should have to.
Does that only affect duly elected government officials, or is that because the Republican Party is not actually a government entity? So
I'm not real sure.
Okay, I don't know either. But you know what? Irrespective of that, the Republican Party has a duty to us as the voters and as the Republican members who are registered Republicans to allow us to know how they're voting on our behalf. And that's the simple truth. And whether it's in law or not, it's integrity and it's called honor, Republican Party. It's called integrity and honor. And unless you're willing to show it, we got no use for that kind of nonsense. And I hope there's a bunch of people who are picking me up in Van Buren who maybe for the first time ever are hearing this show. It's time for the Republican Party to stand up and do the right thing by the citizens of Missouri. We demand and should receive an open opportunity to see exactly how you're voting on our behalf, because we know that this entire operation was engineered by the Republican Party to make sure that Joanne Emerson had an opportunity to defeat and allow the party to pick the candidate instead of allowing us as voters to do it. And that was wrong, and you're wrong then. You're going to be wrong now if you don't do this in public.
That's true. And at the last Republican Party meeting that I attended,
yeah,
the chairman made it pretty obvious that he didn't care.
Yeah, well, let me tell you. Then here's what needs to happen. Everybody in every region needs to replace the leadership in the Republican Party for their particular district, and we need to replace the district leadership. That's it. If they're not going to do what we tell them to do as the voters, the party doesn't belong to the party. The party belongs to the people, too. And
exactly.
Since there's only two of them, and we're stuck with this sham of a two-party system, the least that we can do is take ownership of our half of the sham. I mean, really. So,
yeah, that's absolutely right.
So you know what, folks? What did we talk about earlier on in the show? What can I do to make a difference? I'll tell you what you can do. You can go join your local committee in your county or your district, and you can start getting involved. And you can make sure.
I did that last year.
There you go. And you can do exactly what this caller has done. You can join the party and make sure that you're sitting in on there and you're holding people's feet to the fire and you're changing the rules from the inside. You've got to get inside this dragon in order to kill it because it's got scales on the outside that are better than any kind of armor that is made or known to man. So you can't attack it from the outside, but you can climb inside the dragon, pull out a double-edged, double-bladed sword and start slashing at it from the inside. And that goes for not only government, but the party.
And that's exactly what I was intending to do when I joined.
There you go. And so everybody should be following this example and this lead. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And thank you for letting us know how you're doing it, because that matters. So, listen, if you're on your way up to Van Buren, and thank you, by the way, for the call. I appreciate it.
Well, I'm not on my way to Van Buren because I have to work today.
I got you. Well, and if you can't make Van Buren, I get it because some of us do have to work. But, if you're on your way to Van Buren, make sure that you're letting your voice be heard. And don't let anybody tell you don't have a right to say what is really going on in this party, because it's time for us to take it back. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Hey, have a great day.
All right, we'll see you in a bit. Go ahead, caller. Welcome to the show. You got about 30 seconds. Caller, are you there? Apparently not. Okay, so folks, here's the deal. Get down to the gun show in West Plains if you can't make the Van Buren meeting. If you are in Van Buren, make sure that you're vocal about what you want. Let's take our party and make sure that it is serving us, not we're serving them, okay? And we are watching, Republican Party. We are going to take this back from you, and we are going to control our own future, and we are going to control our own party. You are servants, not masters. And we don't like the way that this whole shindig was done with Joanne the Traitor Emerson. She was a traitor, she was a liar, and she cheated the Missouri citizens in the 8th District out of true and fair representation. I resent it, and I know they do too. Go ahead, caller. You got seconds. Hit it.
Yes. Since we're putting our 2 cents in today, I want to talk about the selection process just a moment.
Well, the music is playing, so you got like 10 seconds.
Well, you realize that Mr. Bailey's wife is the chair of the local Republican Party. Well, now he's suiting up for that office, of course, whether he gets it or not.
Right.
But it seems like if you should be recused from that position if you're going to be choosing one of the people for it.
Hey, if you were a judge, it would be called a conflict of interest. Thanks so much for the call. I appreciate you. Hey, folks, have a great day. We're going to see you on Monday morning, bright and early at 8 a.m. Find us on the web at facebook.com/America's Voice Now. Find us on the web at americasvoicenow.org. And find us on YouTube at youtube.com/America's Voice Now. Love you guys. We'll see you on Monday.
Let's get to the point.
Well, let me get to the point.
FM News Talk for the Ozarks is FM 107.1.